Leonard's dead. Last year, Tom said he'd heard Leonard was killed in a holdup.
I'm happy to say he was wrong. Aunt Emily, let me present Florence, my wife.
How do you do?
Birds of a feather, I see.
What do you mean by that?
Be quiet, Florence.
Well, Leonard, if you are alive as you claim to be, why have you come back to Pirate's Rest?
I've come back to get my inheritance, of course.
So you know your brother Tom is dead, then?
Yes, I know. Every time a Lejean has died, I've known it.
And now they're all dead, you dare show your face again. But you'll get nothing here, you understand? Everything was left to me. Everything.
Indeed? Well, we can discuss that tomorrow. Flo and I have come quite a ways, and we're tired. Will you have Martha show us to a room? And at least make us think we're welcome home?
Coffee, Leonard? Yeah. Here you are.
You know, Flo, I'm a little disappointed. The house is badly run down. I doubt if I can sell it. But there must be cash around someplace, plenty of it.
Leonard, why does your Aunt Emily hate you so?
Oh, I incurred Emily's hatred when I was 12. That was the day of my grandfather's funeral. The one who was later found to have turned over in his coffin.
Oh, Leonard, please.
Emily was the last to leave the vault. For a prank, I closed the door on her. Oh. And it was next day before the family found her.
Oh, Leonard, how could you?
During the night, she heard Grandfather calling to her, asking her to let him out. But of course she didn't, since she knew perfectly well he was dead. Her belief that she could talk to ghosts is dated from that night.
Oh, Leonard.
Oh, but never mind the past. Suppose we look around the house. It'll give you a chance to see Pirate's Rest by daylight, and we might stumble on the money. And this is the ballroom. Those chandeliers were imported by my great-grandfather from Italy.
So dusty now. Cobwebs. Carpet stained.
These are the ancestral portraits. Here is Father, the one who so logically had a telephone installed.
I asked you not to talk about it anymore.
Well, that reminds me. Father's safe used to be behind his picture. I wonder if the combination has been changed. If it hasn't, 3, 17, 21.
It's open.
So it is. Let's see what's in here. Lots of papers. But I don't see any cash.
Leonard, why have you opened the safe?
To see what's inside, of course, Aunt Emily.
You won't find anything in it to steal this time, Leonard.
Steal? I hardly think taking one's own property would be stealing.
You have no property, not according to your brother Tom's will.
Oh, yes, his will. I've been meaning to speak about that. Aunt Emily, where have you been all morning?
I've been down to the graveyard, talking to your brother Tom.
Talking to Tom?
Tom's dead, and you know it.
Yes, Leonard. But I can still talk to him. You know, they don't leave right away. And until they go...
Oh, Leonard, make her stop.
Don't pay any attention to her.
I talked to your grandfather while he was waiting. And I talked to your father, too. And today I was talking to Tom. Maybe someday I'll talk to you, Leonard. Then you'll see.
Oh, make her stop.
Aunt Emily, you've talked enough nonsense. Now I want some straight answers. Here's a very interesting document that says Tom received $300,000 in cash for some property only 6 months ago.
$300,000?
That money is someplace around the house, isn't it, Aunt Emily?
If there's money in this house, Leonard, why don't you look for it? I'm sure if it's here, you're clever enough to smell it out. You always have been.
All right, I will. But if I don't find it, Aunt Emily, then you and I are going to have a little heart-to-heart talk.
to continue the story as it is written in the sealed book. It is evening now. For many hours, Leonard and Florence have been searching the old house. With an axe, Leonard has even ripped open the walls of several rooms, but he has found nothing. During their search, a thunderstorm has sprung up, with pouring rain and crashing thunder, which is making Florence even more nervous.
Oh, Leonard.
Stop jumping every time it thunders. It's just a storm. They come up suddenly down here.
But look out the window. The water in the bayou is rising so fast we'll be flooded.
The bayou overflows a couple of times a year regularly. It's nothing to worry about. The water may cover the low ground where the burial vault is, but that's as far as it ever comes.
Find anything, Leonard?
No, I suppose there's no use chopping any more holes in these walls. They're all too solid to have any hidden openings in them.
And we've searched all the other rooms. Maybe there really isn't any money.
There is, and I know it. We haven't tried the kitchen yet.
Nobody would hide money in a kitchen.
Aunt Emily might. Come on, we'll take a look there. Then if we don't find it, we'll have our little talk with Aunt Emily.
What is it, Leonard? Why are you stopping out here in the hall?
Martha's in the kitchen. She's up to some mischief.
What? She's playing with a little doll. Putting it into a box.
She's up to one of her conjure tricks. But I'll put a stop to them.
Man go into grave. Doll go into
Martha,
coffin.
what do you think you're doing?
Mr. Leonard.
Give me that box.
No, you stay away from me.
Give it to me, I say.
Oh.
There. Now, let's see what you're up to.
Oh, it's a doll. Dressed just like you are.
And it's got adhesive tape over its nose and mouth.
It's supposed to be dead. And the box is supposed to be a coffin.
Well, we'll fix that. There. That takes care of the box and the doll.
You too late, Mr. Leonard. Juju already start to work. Can't stop it now. Doll go into coffin. Man into me alive.
Now all be quiet, Martha.
Doll go into coffin.
Stop it, I
Man
say.
is sure to
You can't try any
die.
voodoo tricks on me, you hear?
Doll go into coffin.
I said to stop it.
Man no
Stop it, you
one
hear?
can save.
Stop it.
Doll
Stop it.
go into coffin.
This will stop you.
She's dead. The axe. Oh, you killed her.
I told her to stop. She asked for it.
Leonard, what are we going to do?
Nothing. I'm master here. Nobody's going to tell the police. If Emily tries to...
Emily tries to what, Leonard?
Aunt Emily.
What are you doing here in the kitchen, Leonard? Where's Martha?
Stay away from her.
She's dead, isn't she? Yes, of course she's dead. So you killed her, Leonard.
Yes, Aunt Emily, I killed her.
Leonard, what are you doing?
Just gathering up these towels, Flo, my dear. Now you and I and Aunt Emily are going into the living room. I'm going to tie Aunt Emily to a chair. Then I'm going to persuade her to tell us where that money is hidden. Well, Aunt Emily, I think those towels will hold you nicely. Now, I'll give you one more minute to tell me what I want to know.
I'll tell you where the money is. It's in your coffin.
My coffin?
Out in the burial vault, where no thief could ever find it.
In the burial vault.
Of course, I should have guessed it.
Not in the upper vault, Leonard. Down in the secret lower one, where there still is one empty coffin left. For you.
Oh, no.
$300,000 in my own coffin.
If you're going to get it now, you'd better hurry. The bayou's rising fast. It's already flooding the cemetery.
Yeah, she's right. By morning, all the ground down there will be under 3 feet of water.
Oh, no, Leonard, please. Please, let's wait.
The lower vault isn't waterproof either anymore.
But we can't go out there tonight in this storm.
It's go now or wait for a week. So we're going now. There's a lantern in the kitchen. Come on, Flo. Or would you rather stay here in the house?
Oh, no. I'm coming with you, Leonard. I'm coming with you.
A few minutes later, Leonard and Florence, with a lantern to show the way, stumbled through the darkness toward the old mausoleum. wading through water a foot deep to reach it. Then Leonard unlocked the heavy iron door, and they entered a dim, cold room, heavy with the musty atmosphere of death. Then, as Florence held the lantern high, Leonard found a great iron ring in the floor and pulled on it, so that a heavy marble slab slowly rose, revealing a narrow flight of steps leading down into the burial vault beneath. Leonard sent Florence ahead of him down these steps with the lantern, then followed, pausing to lower the marble slab back into place.
Oh, Leonard, there's water down here. It's over my ankles.
It won't hurt you.
Leonard, I'm frightened. Aren't you coming down?
Just as soon as I let the slab down. There. Now, let's find that money.
Leonard, the water's rising. I can feel it.
Wet feet won't hurt us. Just make sure the lantern doesn't get wet.
Oh, please, Leonard, hurry.
All right. Hold the lantern over here so I can see.
All right.
Here we are. Here's great-grandfather Paul's coffin in its niche. And grandfather's. And father's. And Tom's. And here's mine.
Oh.
With my name on the nameplate. Leonard Lejeune. Born May 17th, 1890. Died March 12th, 1930.
Leonard, that's today.
Yes. The last part has been scratched in with a knife. Oh, that's some of Aunt Emily's nonsense. Oh, but it doesn't matter. This is the coffin she said the money was hidden in. I have a screwdriver here. I'll get this lid off. It isn't screwed on.
Oh.
And look! It's here! The money! She was telling the truth.
$300,000.
At least, maybe more. There's a dozen big packages of bills here. Now do you feel better?
Yes, but please let's take it and go. The water's still rising.
All right, I know. Hold the gunny sack open and... What's the matter now?
I think I heard somebody up above us.
Oh, nonsense. You're just imagining things.
No, I heard footsteps and a sliding noise. Maybe it was your Aunt Emily.
She's safely tied up in the house.
Oh, but those towels, she wasn't tied very tight.
Hold that sack open, I tell you.
Oh, all right, Leonard.
There. 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, that's all of it. Now we can get out of here. You hold the lantern. I'll carry the money and go up first. I'll get the marble slab up. Then you can follow me and...
Leonard, what is it?
The slab is stuck.
Oh, no. No, it can't be.
Yeah, I'll get it open in a minute. I've got to get my shoulder under it. That's all. Now, it
won't open. Leonard, we're trapped down here. We're trapped. We're never going to get out.
And now to continue the story, as it is written in the sealed book. Having descended into the underground mausoleum, in which the water is rising due to the storm, Flo and Leonard found the old aunt's hidden treasure. But as they tried to get out, they found the great slab that covered the entrance was stuck.
It won't open. We're trapped down here. Oh, Leonard, we're never going to get out.
Be quiet. Put the lantern on the steps and come up here beside me.
All right.
Between us, we can get it open.
All right.
Come on now. There, that's it. Now stand here.
Yeah.
Get your shoulder here beside mine. That's right. Now. Help me lift.
It won't open. It won't open.
It's stuck fast.
What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
Oh, be quiet and let me think.
Oh, she did it, Leonard. Your aunt. She's put something over the slab so we can't get it open.
She couldn't. She was tied up, I tell you.
Oh, she got loose. It's just what she would do. She hates you, Leonard.
The devil. The old she-devil. But I'll beat her. I'll beat her yet. There must be some way out. There must be some way. There must... Yes, that's it. That's it. She didn't think of that.
What, Leonard? What?
My father. I told you he had a mortal fear of being buried alive. So he had a telephone installed here in the burial vault.
Leonard!
A telephone! All connected up and ready to work, in case he was buried alive. Now we're buried alive, and we'll use it. We'll use it.
Leonard, will it
Of course it'll work. Now, where is it? Let's see. Oh, yes. Here. Here in this niche in the corner. It must be in this watertight box. Come on now. Hold the lantern while I open it.
Yes, Leonard.
There. Look, I was right. A telephone all in working order. Father never thought when he drove me out of the house that someday he'd save my life.
Use it, Leonard. Use it and get us out of here.
I'll have to call the sheriff in the village. Have him come rescue us. I'll tell him a story, some kind of a story. It won't matter. Hello. Operator. Hello. Operator.
Hello?
Operator, give me the sheriff, quickly.
Oh, thank heavens, it worked.
The sheriff? Why do you want the sheriff? That telephone you're using only connects with the house, Leonard.
Emily.
Of course. How does it feel to be dead, nephew?
Aunt Emily, listen to me. I'm not dead, do you hear? And you've got to come let us out of here.
Of course you're dead, Leonard. That's why I had to fix it so you couldn't get out again. Because the dead have to stay where they belong.
Oh, no. Aunt Emily, listen to me. Come let us out of here, and I'll let you keep the money. I won't bother you again. I'll go away. You'll never see me again, only come let us out.
I know it's hard to get used to the idea of being dead, Leonard. Tom found it hard, too. And so did your father. But you'll get used to it. And your wife will get used to it. And I'll come talk to you, Leonard, every day. Just as I talk to them.
No.
Because now that you're dead, you're both welcome back. And the family's all together again. So, welcome home, Leonard. Welcome home.
No. Emily.
That is the tale of Leonard and Florence Lejean's homecoming, as it is written in the sealed book. The next day, old Emily was found unconscious by neighbors who had no knowledge of Leonard's arrival with his wife. They took Emily to the hospital, where it was several weeks before she could speak coherently. Then they decided to keep her there, to look after her. But the doctors observed that Emily carried on long conversations with a nephew named Leonard and his wife, Florence, whom no one else could see. Since that day, the old Lejean mansion has crumbled into ruin, and no living soul has ever entered the old mausoleum again. Its secrets are forever hidden from the world, save only here, where they are written down in the sealed book. And now, keeper of the book, before you close the great volume, show us the tale we tell next time. This one. Ah, yes. The story of a strange plot by which a man and a woman schemed to be rid of an individual who stood in the way of their happiness, and of the terrible fate to which their scheme brought them. A tale titled, I'll Die Laughing. Be sure to be with us again next time And the sound of the great gong heralds another strange and exciting tale from The Sealed Book. The Sealed Book, written by Bob Arthur and David Cogan, is produced and directed by Jock McGregor.
No, stay where you are. Do not break the stillness of this moment, for this is a time of mystery, a time when imagination is free and moves forward swiftly, silently. This is the Haunting Hour. Revenge. Listen, those are bells tolling in requiem for a man who has died. How did he die, you ask? Listen to what happened to a girl who knew, and whose mind was clouded dark with the fear of knowing. Listen to a tale of murder. It is late afternoon. Lee House is set strangely on a cliff beside the rolling sea. Autumn leaves fall, and with them the threads of night. And in a car, parked a little distance from the house at a pillared gate, sits a girl behind the wheel. Beside her stands an old man with sad and beguiling eye.
It's a bad night, Miss Anna, to be driving the sea road.
I know, Jameson. But I must go. I must. How could I spend another night in that house? What could be keeping him?
This young man, Miss Anna, is he...
He's a good driver, Jameson. I'll be perfectly safe.
I do hope you will be, ma'am. Listen, you can hear the surf from here. How Mr. Jonathan loved the sea.
Jameson, don't. Oh, there's rain behind that wind, I bet.
Annabelle!
He's in my mind. Memory of him. I can still see him. Like that night a few weeks before he died. I mustn't think of it. Not now. Not now.
You can't forget me, Annabelle. Even when I'm dead, I'll live in your mind. I'll feed on your fear of my ghost.
I'd rather be dead. Jonathan, let me out of this house. Let me go.
My dear, you're too lovely for others to see, so I've no choice but to keep you within these walls.
Within this prison, you mean? Even that chauffeur is a spy. There isn't a moment of the day when I don't feel a pair of eyes watching everything I do. They even pry into my thoughts. Jonathan, if you have any kindness in your heart...
Look, here at the window. The ocean is white capped, far as you can see.
Why do you torture me? How can you hate me so much?
I don't, my Annabelle. And this pleading, it's no use. You'll never forget me. I'll never let you go. I'll never let you go. Miss Anna, why so pensive?
Oh, I was thinking. Remembering. Jameson, are you sure you want to be caretaker at Lee House? You won't be lonesome?
I wouldn't leave it, Miss Anna. It'd be like leaving my little girl, my daughter Amy.
You loved her very much, didn't you?
That I did. And the morning we found her, at the bottom of the cliff down there in the cove, was almost more than my heart could bear. But that was long ago. Look there.
Reckon that's the young man coming now.
Oh, yes, it is. Goodbye, Jameson. You've been a good friend. Thank you for that. Goodbye.
Good luck, Miss Anna, wherever you go.
Jim. Oh, Jim, I thought you'd never come.
Hello, Anna. Sorry.
Here, climb in here. Take the wheel.
Okay. A few last things to do at the Hendersons. You know how it is.
Jim, hold me close.
I was so worried. I was afraid you might think I wasn't coming. And all the time running over that hill, my heart kept pounding, saying, Simpleton Jim Brandt, even late for his elopement. Well, ready to start, Mrs. Brandt? Just you wait and see what a swell honeymoon trip I've got planned for us, Mrs. Brandt.
Oh, it's so wonderful. But is it real, Jim?
What do you mean real? Of course it's real.
Well, it seems like a good dream. After the last 3 months since he died, I've lived in a nightmare since then.
But it's over now.
Over and done with. Jim, don't think me silly, but they don't exist any longer, do they? I mean, people who are dead.
My heavens, no. Except in somebody's mind, maybe. Somebody who was close. A wife or a daughter like you, maybe. Especially a good-looking daughter like you.
Yes. I want to tell you something, Jim.
My, don't you sound serious, though.
I don't want to be serious. All I want to do is be close beside you.
Say, there's a road somewhere ahead that cuts off about 10 miles. Country road. We'll have to watch for it.
Remember the first day we met, Jim? That little country road?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't far from Lee House.
You just walked down that road from the Hendersons, and when I came along, you were poking at some rocks with a long stick, and I couldn't imagine what you were doing.
Oh, hey there, young lady. Would you like to see something?
See what?
Well, come here and find out. A whole nest of them. Down in this crevice in the rocks.
Nest of what?
Well, come and see. They won't bite you.
Oh, no, you tell me. I'd rather not look. That rattling...
That does give them away. Well, it's a mama snake and, I don't know how many chillin' in the nicest snake house you ever saw. Big fellas, too.
Oh, then you let them alone before they come out.
Oh, they'd be as scared of you as you'd be of them. Well, say, you live around here somewhere?
Yes, but I must go now.
Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm Jim Brandt, architect over at the Hendersons' place. Been adding that new wing and rebuilding the stable.
I heard about it.
Where do you live?
At the Lee House.
I've been on lots of walks around here, but I've never seen you before. How come?
I don't often go out.
Say, you must be Mr. Lee's daughter, huh? Or has he got a daughter?
I really can't talk with you, Mr. Brandt. I've got to hurry home.
Oh.
Goodbye.
Oh, hey, Miss Lee. Maybe I'll see you around here again sometime.
First time we met. Remember?
You were mighty strange that day.
I was afraid.
Afraid? Afraid of what?
Oh, I don't know. I guess because all the days were so full of him. Like the day he disappeared.
What do you mean, Anna?
We went sailing alone that day. Then suddenly the squall blew up, the wind and the waves, and nobody ever saw him again.
Annabelle!
Yes, Jim?
Annabelle Lee! Huh? Annabelle!
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't.
But you did. You said my name.
Oh, you were just half asleep, that's all. Hey, what's that? Oh, doggone it, Anna. We got a flat tire.
Don't stop, Jim. Don't stop here.
We have to. I can't ride the rim.
But there's nothing to fix it with, Jim. Let's go on, please. I don't care about the tire.
Anna, what's the matter? You think I'm going to ruin a perfectly good... Hey, look. There's a little house up there. I'll bet he's got a jack. Hey, up there. Now, darling, don't look like that.
What's the matter?
Hello. Sorry to bother you. Have you got a jack I can borrow? Flat tire.
Sure. Hey, son, go get the jack out of the car.
You see, Anna, we'll have it fixed in no time. Oh, darling, don't look peeved.
You people headed for the turnpike?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
You're going the wrong way. Shortcut's back about a mile.
Oh, you mean we're past it?
Well, how do there, ma'am? Didn't see you at first.
How'd you do?
I don't guess you remember me. I come over and helped your husband's man, Jameson, fix the gardens this spring.
Jim,
It's too bad he's lost in that squall, Miss Lee. He's a fine gentleman, Mr. Jonathan was. It grieved us all to see your husband go like that.
Jim, you turned back. You're taking me home.
You were Jonathan's wife, Anna.
Don't take me back. I didn't lie to you, Jim. I was going to tell you.
When? After we got married? After...
No, I was going to tell you tonight. That second time I saw you after Jonathan disappeared, you asked my name. Even then you thought I was his daughter, and something wouldn't let me say I was his wife. He was so much older, Jim. Nearly 20 years.
How long were you married?
4 years. 4 dreadful years. I never loved him.
Anna.
I can't help it. He kept me like a prisoner in that gloomy house, watching me every minute. Oh, Jim, I do love you. Don't take me back.
It's all right, Anna. Don't get upset. Just be quiet for a few minutes. What's the matter? What are you looking back for?
Something's following us. I can feel it, Jim.
On this lonely road?
You're sorry you ever came.
Anna, stop it.
Say you're not sorry. Say you forgive me for deceiving you.
I do forgive you.
Then everything's all right, Jim. Don't hate me.
Oh, Anna, no. Let's not talk about it. Not now.
Yes, let's forget. Let's talk of something else. Look, it's beginning to rain. Night's come.
Yes. Listen to it on the roof. Seems to be saying your name. There's a poem written about you. Know that?
Yes.
Pose. I used to know it by heart. It was many and many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea.
That a maiden there lived whom you may know.
That's it.
By the name of Annabel Lee. And this maid, she lived with no other thought than to love and be loved by me.
Say, you know it too.
Heard it 1,000,000 times. I know it all, every syllable. Jim, listen.
What?
It was many a year ago in a kingdom by the sea.
Jim, look.
What is it?
On the road in the lightning. A man in the rain.
Anna, it's not anybody.
But you don't know. He was in the house from that first day he disappeared. I could hear him even before that. Out at sea, calling my name.
Oh, Anna, you've got to stop this.
But, Jim...
You're just imagining it, I tell you.
Jim, I've got to tell you. I can't go on without telling you the truth.
What truth?
I killed him.
Anna.
I killed Jonathan. I killed my husband.
What are you saying?
Now you know. Now you can take me back to Lee House. You can take me back home. Back to him.
Jonathan Lee is dead. And our story begins one night a few months later when Anna, a young woman who has lived in seclusion for 4 years at Lee House, is to be married to Jim Brandt, a young architect. Jameson, the old caretaker, sees her off in the station wagon. And as Anna and Jim drive along, she confesses that she was Jonathan's wife, that she herself murdered him. Her mind is distraught with a terrible fear that the dead man is somehow among the undead, that he is waiting for her.
Oh, Anna, I don't believe you. What are you saying?
That I killed him. I planned to kill him.
No, you couldn't have.
I had to tell you. Because Jim, somehow he's not dead. You said the dead only live in somebody's mind. And they do. But they also live beyond the mind.
Oh, Anna, please.
That's why I couldn't wait to tell you. Calmly and sanely in the light of day. Jonathan's waiting somewhere for
Listen.
me.
Now, Anna, listen.
Don't you see, Jim? I thought I could run away from him. I thought I could send him out to sea and he'd never come back again.
Here, I'm going to stop the car.
Oh, no. Jim, please, no. If you loved me, take me on.
Tell me why. Why on earth did you do this?
I had to.
Tell me why.
That poem you mentioned. He used to say it to me. He used to love it. I'll hear him till I die. His voice droning out the words. Sometimes, Jim, he'd lie awake and I'd hear him whispering it over and over. Like the sea, mournful and sad. When I started working in the village at the library, 5 years ago that was, he used to come in and ask for Bo. At first I thought he was just a lonely old man lonely because his wife was dead. That day, late in October, he asked me if I'd take the job of cataloging his library. It was right after my mother died. I was alone. He used to come in that big, dark room and ask to help. He used to say, "You're working too hard, Annabelle. Come for a sail with me." I went once or twice. He'd look at me with a strange kind of laughter in his eyes. Then he asked me to marry him. He asked me 12 times. At last I did. And then 4 years in that house with the sea always pounding, the wind crying in the cove.
But what did he do, Anna? What could have made you...
He was going to kill me. Just as he killed the first Mrs. Lee.
What? He murdered her?
Oh, Jim. I had to do it. From the day I married him, I wasn't allowed out of that house. Except when he went along. That afternoon I met you. He'd gone for a sail, and I'd planned to run away.
Yes, you did have a suitcase, I remember.
But when I met you, I was sure you were one of his spies, so I had to go back again. That night, I went to his room. He was sitting in the huge chair by the fire. He looked up and smiled that grim smile.
Did you want something, Annabelle?
Jonathan, you loved me once. I had pity for you once, if not love. Oh, listen to me, please.
But you've said it all before, hundreds of times.
I couldn't say it enough, Jonathan. Please, please let me go. I'll do anything you say if you'll only let me go.
But, my dear, when I met you, didn't my money please your eye? Isn't it enough to have that?
It wasn't your money, Jonathan. It was pity for you. Only pity. I thought it was love.
Where is your pity now? No, Annabelle. I couldn't let you go. You'd find pity for another man and grow to believe that you loved him, too. How could I bear such a thing to happen? No. You see, your pity, as you call it, is only for me. Until the day you die.
What do you mean? Jonathan, what do you mean?
Soon, I'll let you go, Annabelle. Some day soon you must go for a sail with me.
I screamed and ran from him. My mind was sick with terror. What was I to do? The house was like a prison, and everywhere I turned were shadows and gloom, and Jonathan was part of it all. But I had one friend, and he'd come to me when I needed him most.
Miss Hannah, don't turn on the light.
Jameson, where are you?
Here beside you. I've been waiting in your room because I had to see you without him knowing it.
Oh, Jameson, you've got to help me. I've got to get out of here.
No, Miss Anna. That's what he wants you to do. That's why I came to stop you from going.
Why?
He'd follow you. He'd find you.
You heard what he said?
I've heard it before. The other Mrs. Lee. She begged him to let her go. Time and again she begged him. And one day, she took a boat from the cove.
He said she was lost in the sea.
Yes, Miss Anna. But Mr. Jonathan followed in a skiff, and then she never came back. He murdered her.
Jameson.
It's the truth.
I believe you. I do.
Then wait and plan. I'll help, but he mustn't know about it. Tomorrow, we'll talk tomorrow, if he goes sailing again.
Sailing? You're right, Jameson. I won't run away. I know now what I have to do. I know now what I must. So that night, I made my plan. The next day, he did go sailing. And that was when I caught them. With a little cord noose I made myself. I lay on the rocks for a long time, looking down, waiting till I could get the cord over their heads.
Caught what?
The rattlesnakes you showed me that day.
Yeah.
I caught them and took them down to the cove in a box. And that night I put them in his boat in a coil of rope. I I left them there.
Oh, Anna, how terrible.
The next day he went sailing again. He didn't see them at first. The motion of the boat and a sharp sting on his leg. And waiting in the dark, I could picture him. Fighting, drawing back, turning loose of the boom, climbing out of the pit. And the squall came. And he was gone.
Oh, Anna, what are we going to do?
But I had to, Jim.
It wasn't because of me.
I'd only seen you once. I didn't know you weren't somebody he'd hired to watch me till I saw you again and again after he was dead. Oh, Jim.
Anna, look out. Hold on. It's a cliff. We're hanging over the edge, Anna. Get out, quick. Here, take my hand. This side, Anna, this side. That was close. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm all right.
Look, we nearly went over into the sea. Golly, we'd both have been killed.
Jim!
What, Anna?
We're back where we started. There's the house and the cliff.
What?
You brought me back.
Anna, you know I didn't.
Jim, look. Who is it, Jim? Yonder on the road.
I don't know.
It's Jonathan. He's walked up from the sea. Oh, let me go, Jim. Let me go.
Oh, it's only some man. Anna, come back here. Come back.
Hey, down there. What's the trouble?
Quick, man. Help me stop her.
Where'd she go? I'm Jameson.
We had an accident, Jameson. She's gotten some crazy notion in her head about a ghost. Look, she's running across the lawn.
Down to the sea path. Hurry. Miss Anna, it's me, Jameson.
Oh, Jameson. It's you. It's you.
Anna, where were you running to?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, my darling. You frightened us nearly to death.
It was only me on the road, ma'am.
I thought
She's shivering, sir. Here, take my coat, Miss Anna. It's Providence that brought you back tonight.
Why, Jameson?
There's nothing to say, Jameson. Jim, take me to the house.
But when Jonathan sailed away that day, the snakes weren't in the boat. I took them out. You see, he could have heard their rattles. And anyway, sir, I couldn't have Miss Anna do such a thing.
James, you mean...
I couldn't have her do it, sir, when rightly the job was mine.
What you're trying to say...
It was my daughter Amy I was thinking of. How Mr. Jonathan drove her to love him like she did. And how he would smile at her in that laughing way, so that she jumped from the rocks here down to the sea.
Then that was why...
So, that day, before he went for his last sail, I cut the rigging ropes. And when the wind took the canvas strong, as it does when you ride the swells, they snapped. And I stood here on the cliff and watched the boom fly free, and down he went beneath it.
Oh, Jim.
How could I watch him murder you, Miss Anna, as he'd murdered my Amy?
Oh, you're free of it, Anna, now. Don't you see? It was only the fear in your mind.
I've got a fire going in the library, Miss Anna.
I'll take her in, Jameson.
I'll go see if I can get your car off the cliff.
Oh, no, Jameson. Let it alone. We don't care about the car.
But you two can be on your way again when the rain blows over.
Come along in, Anna. You're cold. Now, here, pull the coat around you.
He did it for me, Jim.
Are you all right now?
Now I am. Jim, look. What's Jameson doing?
He's climbing in the car.
Stop him, Jim.
What? He started the motor.
But the car's hanging over the edge of the rocks. Jim, stop him. It's toppling. It's toppling over the cliff. Oh, Jim, how awful. It went over the cliff.
Down to the sea in the cove.
He did it all for me.
And for me, too, darling. But he's made everything all right, Anna. He's made everything all right.
From shadows and stillness, mystery weaves a spell of strangest fascination, charging the mind with doubts and fears. For mystery is a strange companion, a living memory.
fascination of the eerie, weird, blood-chilling tales told by old Nancy, the witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat. They're waiting for you. Now.
I be today. Yes, sir, 103-year-old. Well, Satan, me and you'd better plan to spin these folks a pretty little yarn tonight. Douse all them lights. That's it. Make it nice and dark and cheerful when you hears our bedtime stories. Now, draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into 'em deep, and soon you'll see the dining room of a fine old house in England. And there, on the evening of the 13th of May, begins our yarn about the devil's number. The devil's number.
Serve coffee and liqueurs in the East Room, Peters. You'll be more comfortable there.
Yes, sir.
Permit me to lead the way, Mrs. Oliver.
Certainly. What a wonderfully huge place you have here, Mr. Rockwell. Harry, don't you wish that our home had so many rooms that we'd be compelled to designate them by points of the compass?
I'm not sure that I do when I think of Mr. Rockwell's yearly cost for upkeep.
When my original ancestor built the place in 1512, and other ancestors later enlarged it, they had a very poor regard for a 20th century descendant who'd have to bear its expense in depreciated currency. Here we are. Take this chair, Mrs. Oliver.
Thank you. This house was built in 1512, you say? My, that's over 400 years ago.
Yes, its lack of modern conveniences attest to that. You know, I'm offering you very poor hospitality in exchange for the jolly entertainment you afforded me at this time last year.
Poor hospitality? After that dinner?
Anyone can feed his friends. But you fed me in such a delightfully original manner.
Original?
Don't you remember? By a coincidence, today's day and date are precisely similar, except for the month.
You were at my anti-superstition party.
Yes, with 13 at table, and you compelled everyone to break a mirror.
And to spill salt.
To enter the dining room, we had to walk under a ladder.
Of course you were at that mad affair.
I shall never forget it. I've gone about knocking on wood ever since. I'm only joking about being superstitious, of course. Although it's bred in my British bones.
There's a coffee and liqueur, sir.
Oh, yes, yes.
Will there be something else now, Mr. Rockwell?
Not for the present. I'll ring if I want you.
Yes, sir.
You know, it's a darn funny thing that we should visit your place for the first time on Friday the 13th, as you first visited us. The coincidence never occurred to me until you mentioned it.
I thought of it when I drove you down from London.
If we hadn't been detained in Liverpool, we'd have begun our visit yesterday, as we planned.
Perhaps the hoodoos I made you attempt last year arranged the coincidence.
I scarcely think the hoodoos will harm us after this long time. But perhaps we should light a bonfire to keep them at a distance.
Light a bonfire?
Yes. Evil spirits are afraid of fire. If you look out that window, you'll see several fires which my tenants have lighted for their protection.
Your tenants? You mean modern English farmers believe seriously in the ill fortune of this day?
Whether they believe seriously or not, they take no chances. Do you know the basis for its ill fame?
Why? Because Friday was the day of crucifixion.
Yes, when evil triumphed over good, and the devil over God. 13 is the devil's number, because he was the chief of each convene of witches and wizards, which always numbered 12 in addition to himself.
Now, you've been holding out on us, Bert. We never dreamed that you were an authority on folklore.
Oh, dear me, I'm not. I'm only the merest dabbler. But it is an interesting subject, don't you think?
Most interesting, particularly for today.
Would you like to see a concrete example of the 13 superstition?
A concrete example?
Yes. But first, you must assure me that you're not at all squeamish.
Not I.
Then come this way. Oh, Peters. Peters?
Yes, sir.
Fetch me a lamp or a lantern, will you?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm taking you to the unused portion of the house. Are you sure you won't mind looking at human bones, Mrs. Oliver?
Human bones?
Very old ones. They've been in the house for nearly 3 centuries.
You keep bones in the house?
Well, they belong to an ancestor of mine. He was such a wicked old chap, the church wouldn't permit his remains to be buried in consecrated ground, so we had to find a resting place for them somewhere. Besides, He wanted them to be here.
Here's the lantern, sir.
Oh, thank you, Peters.
You're going to the old part, sir?
That's where we're headed.
Not towards the North Tower, sir.
Yes, to the crypt of old Eric.
Please don't go in there, sir. Not tonight, Mr. Rockwell.
If the old wizard starts any trouble, Peters, we'll shout and let you know.
But, Mr. Rockwell...
Come along, you two who want to learn about superstition.
Mr. Rockwell, wait. Take this.
Oh, must I carry that prodigious weapon with me?
You've promised me you always will when you go in there, sir. Please.
Oh, very well. I'll take it now. Come along, open the door.
Yes, sir.
Give me your hand here. It's pretty dark in here.
Yes. I'll leave the door open, sir, and stand here waiting, if you need me.
All right, Peters.
Your butler doesn't approve of this expedition, apparently.
No, he doesn't like the North Tower and old Eric.
Why did he insist you carry that huge revolver?
He always does when I visit the old part. He has it loaded with dum-dum bullets.
Dum-dum?
Yes, they're ordinary lead or steel-jacketed bullets crisscrossed with a knife across the nose to make them spread on impact. Someday I shall tell him that only silver bullets are of any use against ghosts.
Ghosts?
Or disciples of witchcraft.
Now, what on earth are you taking us to see?
Merely some old bones. Watch your step. The floors aren't very sound in here. It's rubbish to fall over.
Now, you're working up to some sort of a practical joke leading us into this darkness.
No, upon my word, I'm not. No, really. Although I do owe your wife some retaliation for having made me walk under ladders and break mirrors.
I've never been in such a spooky place.
Nor I. These old halls beat any haunted castle I've ever read about in books.
The shadows cast upon them by Mr. Rockwell's rubbing lantern are giving me the shivers.
Me too. You're getting your revenge for Judith's superstition party, Bert. But tell us about this ancestor of yours whose bones we're going to see.
Wait till we reach his resting place. The tale will be more effective then. Here we are. His remains are enclosed in that little iron chest.
Reaching that wall?
Yes. I'll open his tiny coffin. Here, you see all that is still earthly of Eric Rockwell, my many times great-grandfather who was burnt at the stake by order of King James I. For witchcraft.
Burnt at the stake?
For witchcraft, yes. Members of the family bribed the official executioners and were allowed to reclaim these bones from the ashes. They sifted so diligently that only the bones of a single foot escaped their pious search. Otherwise, the skeleton of the old scoundrel lies intact within this iron box.
Why do you keep him here?
Well, I've already explained that the church refused to allocate hallowed ground to his remnants. That Eric's bones were not consumed together with his flesh was considered extremely unfortunate at the time, for it was commonly believed that they would enable him to live again.
People believe such rot as that?
People still believe it. Oh, wait till you hear all the story. Gather round me, my children, and listen. The old gentleman whose skull and assorted bones lie before us in these pretty shadows had great supernatural power. According to incontestable records, he was born in the year of 1514. He was executed in 1623.
When he was over 100 years old.
When he was 109 years old. But when he was led to the stake, he didn't look a day over 40.
Bert, are you making all this up?
Not a word of it. However, let's hear the rest of Eric's history. At his trial, it was proven that he'd murdered no less than 8 young girls.
He murdered?
Yes. For their blood, which he used as ingredients for a rejuvenating elixir which enabled him to defy old age.
Well, that's crazy.
I know it is, but according to the records, it worked.
But how?
Well, that the judges didn't learn. They learned he had lured young women to this house so that they might later become his victims, however. It seems he, in some way, managed to secure 13 drops of their blood, after which they became his slaves and did whatever he wished.
13 drops of blood.
The devil's number. The number which makes people fear this day, even in a so-called enlightened age. After Eric had secured that small amount of blood, the girl would become his creature, Then he would drain her arteries at leisure in his laboratory, which still exists as he left it. As a matter of fact, the old villain was probably merely a first-class hypnotist with a wide sadistic streak. But he makes a good story for Friday the 13th, doesn't he?
Yes. But why do you keep his awful bones in your home?
A matter of tradition. We Britons are governed always by that, you know. The old boy is said to have remarked before his death that if his bones weren't collected and kept in Rockwell Manor, and that if his laboratory and implements weren't preserved intact, that the house would be destroyed. The foolish believe that he had a purpose in that command, some idea of resurrecting himself from the dead. Mad story, isn't it?
Yeah. Now close that ghastly chest and let's go back to where it's light.
I'm for that. I brought you here for a ghostly thrill. I've given myself the shivers.
Don't close the chest yet. Hold that lantern so I can look.
Judith, I never knew before that you possessed a morbid streak.
I didn't either. But those bones, that grinning skull, they fascinate me.
You're bearing out the legend, Mrs. Oliver. Old Eric was noted for fascinating women. But I'll close the test now, if you don't mind, and we'll go back.
Yes, dear. I'm ready for another glass of birch brandy.
Wait, please. Let me close the chest.
If you wish.
Oh,
Dear, but what's wrong?
oh, I cut my finger on that rusty iron.
Hey, hold that lantern here, Bert.
I see your finger's bleeding.
Hey, I'll bind it with my handkerchief.
Don't bother. It's just a scratch.
Good Lord.
What's the matter?
Her blood has fallen on that skull.
Why should that?
Count those drops, Harry. I make 13. The devil's number. 13 drops of blood on the wizard's skull.
Honestly, Harry, if we hadn't known Mr. Rockwell for so long as the steadiest sort of person, I'd think he's a little mad.
Quiet, dear. His room's next to ours. He might hear you. He certainly became upset about that blood, didn't he?
His face was whiter than a sheet when we came out of that darkness into the lighted hall.
And so was his butler's when he heard what had happened. It was strange, though, that you should cut your finger and that just 13 drops of blood should fall upon those bones after what Bert had told us.
Yes. There were just 13 drops.
Exactly. I counted them. They all fell on top of the skull, and it absorbed them like blotting paper.
Coincidence, wasn't it?
Yes. If there was any superstition in my makeup, I'd have been more shaky about it than Bert.
Why? Would you think my blood could restore the old wizard to life?
Oh, that's ridiculous. Why did you want to close that closet, Judith?
I don't know. Just a mood, I guess.
Well, I'm tired. Let's go to bed.
All right. I'd better remove the handkerchief you bound around my finger and wash it thoroughly before I take off my dress. I don't want bloodstains on this new gown.
No, I'll put some iodine on that cut.
Harry.
Huh?
This is funny.
What?
There's no blood on either my finger or the handkerchief.
No?
Yet the cut was bleeding profusely when you bound it.
Let's see.
Look.
That is funny.
The wound seems to have closed after those 13 drops.
Evidently.
Another coincidence, isn't it?
The cut's a tiny one. It's not remarkable that so little blood flowed from it.
Harry, there's still another coincidence that I haven't mentioned to you.
What do you mean?
When I reached out to close the lid of that chest, it fell upon my hand before I touched it.
Before you touched it?
Yes, it seemed to leap at me.
Now look here, Judith. You're not letting Rockwell's story of that old sawdust affect your good sense. You're not beginning to believe there's anything supernatural between this trifling accident?
No, of course not. I'll take off my dress and we'll go to bed.
We'd better. Bert's servants will be calling us for breakfast at 7.
Look out this window. The farmers are still keeping their bonfires to drive the evil things away.
Yeah, the idiots.
For hundreds of years, they've believed the powers of hell are strong on this day of the devil's number.
Dear, what's the matter with you?
Oh, this huge, spooky old house, I guess, and this old country. I'm being silly. Unhook my dress, dear.
I should say you are being silly. Now, hold still.
What's that?
What?
Outside in the hall.
Sounds like footsteps. Footsteps of a lame man.
Yeah. It stopped outside our door.
Well, I wonder who... Well, I haven't seen any lame servants about the place.
Now the steps are passing on.
Oh, why should they have stopped here? I'm going to see.
No. Don't open that door.
Judith, let me go.
Don't open that door.
What's the matter with you?
Those steps came from where we saw that chest of bones from which a foot is missing.
Harry, Oliver, let me in. Bert, open your door. I'm going to talk to you quickly. Why, what's wrong?
Did you hear footsteps in this hall?
Yes.
They stopped outside this door and then went on.
I didn't imagine it, and I didn't.
Oh, what's wrong with you? Wasn't it one of your servants out there?
That thing with a single foot, did it sound to you like a living human?
No, it didn't.
Have you both gone crazy?
I think I have. For ever since your wife's blood fell on those ghastly bones, I've been like a timid child in the dark. And since those footsteps came and went, I'm frankly terrified. Don't call me a fool, a coward, a man, but I can't help it. I've got to see what was walking in this hall.
Bert, come back here.
He's running towards that tower.
The man's out of his mind.
You've got to stop him. It was from there those footsteps came.
Oh, the footsteps won't hurt him, but he's liable to fall through a hole in those rotten floors without a light. I'll get him.
Harry, don't leave me.
Nothing's going to hurt you. Call the servants. Tell them to bring lanterns. I'll never be able to find Bert in this infernal blackness. Bert!
Yes, I'll call. Peter! Come here, quick!
Please don't scream. Gaze into my eyes and obey whatever I tell thee.
You have no eyes. I see only a grinning skull. An awful skeleton that walks.
You will see what my will demands. You will see the man I was in life.
You are a man. I see that now. A man who wears a strange, ancient clothes. A man who has lost a foot.
Thou shalt act as my will demands. Thou shalt help me to become indeed a living man, you see.
No.
Yes. No. The devil, my master, hath given thee to me. Come, I lead. Ye follow.
I follow.
Follow me, and learn my master's power. Follow me, and learn the magic of 13 drops of blood.
Those bones are missing from their chest, Harry. They're gone.
Someone's playing a practical joke.
Those bones are gone because the legend's true. Because your wife's blood has brought that monster back to life.
Oh, stop that, or you'll make me as crazy as you are. Now leave me out of this darkness. I've got to see Judy. I've got to know that she's all right.
Wait, did you hear that?
What?
I heard a door close. Back in the old North Tower.
I thought I did, too.
That's where Eric had his laboratory, where he worked his filthy magic.
Well, if we did hear a door, I'll not believe a dead hand closed it. What a fool I was to leave Judy.
Oh, she'll be all right. Don't pay any heed to my imbecile hysteria, old man. Come on, here's the passage that leads to the lighted hall. You can see your door from here.
Yeah, it's standing open where I left it. Judith probably has the servants with her now. Judith! Judy, dear! I found Bert and brought him back. Judith, why don't you answer me? Judith! Judith! She's not here. The room's empty.
Good Lord!
What are you staring at, Bert?
What? Look, impressed in this carpet. This is the footprint of a skeleton, of a single bony foot.
That door we heard closed.
Judith! Quick, to the tower, man! The tower!
Come, have little time to waste, my dear. Soon thy husband and the present master of this house will note thy absence and seek thee in this laboratory. But there is time enough. There is time enough for that which thou wilt do.
What must I do?
First, thou must prepare an altar to my master. For fear of the curse, they have left this chamber quite unchanged. In the scrollwork of yonder well thou wilt find a carven serpent. Oh, press its head.
I press.
Yes, a pillar opens. Put thy hand inside and draw forth 2 black candles. Black for the worship of my master. Now, place them here.
They are placed.
Now, from the sacred cupboard,
hands. Oh, Satan, they're still useless for thy work. Their hands are the dead, and have no strength nor power. But thou hast restored my will, hast given me the means for my hands. Soon, by her death, thou shalt give me back my life, O Satan.
The candles are lighted.
Bring forth yon earthen basin now, and the flask that lies beside it. Unstop the flask and pour its contents in the bowl. It's the holy oil of hell. Oil from fat of newborn babes. Place it here between the candles. Now from the cupboard, take yon keen-edged knife, and with it in thy hand, recline upon the altar. Thou art to be the sacrifice. Thy husband comes, but he will be too late.
Hey, the door's locked. Lie one side there, Judith. Listen to me.
I not. Lie thou on the altar.
I do as you command.
I heard a voice. She's in there.
The dead is in there too. The dead shall soon be alive. Warm blood shall enter his bones and the flesh again.
Get on that. Break down the door. Take it.
Raise thy knife, woman, and strike it to thy heart.
Harry.
Raise not his voice. Obey it, son. Obey me.
Listen to me.
Now, strike. Strike that knife into your heart, I say.
No.
The door's getting ready. Come on, quick. Use that knife, that I may have my blood.
Don't.
Strike.
Don't never.
Strike. Devil in hell, my master. Satan in power to my long dead will. By the 13 drops of blood thou didst give me from this woman, make her give me all that flame within her veins. No! Oh, heaven! I call on hell! Strike, woman! Strike!
I obey.
The door open! Strike! Stop her! Woman! Turn thy blade on them! I can't hold it! She's all the strength of hell! Stop him! Strike! He's got me! A knife with my arm! I have thy blood. Thou too will be in my power. Don't let those bony hands touch that arm. You'll be under his spell as she is. I can't. The blood! My blood! Just 13 drops! And the toy at me! I've got a knife! I've got it! Now, look out! I've knocked the lighted candle in this oil.
The oil is spreading flames all around the room.
Fire is the only way to stop this monster. The one way to destroy him. Not if he escapes.
He's circled the flames.
He's on the door.
Couldn't follow him.
The woman still remains my slave. Her blood yet will give me life.
Stop him, Mike. Stop him. You haven't done the one Peter gave you.
Shoot. Leaden bullets won't destroy a thing of hell.
We have nothing else. He's going away with Judith. Try.
Try, but there's no hope. Fallen in a scattered heap of bones.
Harry!
Judith, coming back to me. The devil's spell is lifted from her.
Oh, Harry, darling.
My dear.
But leaden bullets couldn't destroy a thing of hell. They couldn't. You said the dum-dum bullets in that pistol were made by cutting a cross upon the notebook. A cross? Yes, a cross. The sign of heaven. We must get out of here and rouse the servants. Those flames can't be stopped now. And soon this house will fall as old Eric prophesied.
Wait. Listen.
The clock is striking. Midnight.
The devil's day is over.
Well, that's the end of that, Satan. You folks look out for Friday the 13th when it comes your way.
Network presents the 13th in a series of dramatic explorations into the vast and unknown darkness of the human mind. Tonight, in the absence of Boris Karloff, who has been your host on this program of mystery, we take the opportunity to introduce the man who henceforth will serve as your guide and companion along the dark and often terrifying pathway of the unexplored. He will come to you only as a voice, since for reasons best known to himself, he prefers to remain anonymous. He stands before me now, ready to lead you into the dim and distant world beyond the realm of human understanding. Creep by Night presents its master of mystery, Dr. X. Good evening. I have been asked to serve as your master of mystery on these weekly pilgrimages into the unknown. To choose for you stories that peer deep into the tortured souls of men and draw aside the shadowy curtain of the mind. For the time being, I shall have to be known only as Dr. X, my identity cloaked in the very darkness of which we speak. Perhaps some of you will recognize my voice. If you do, I pledge you to secrecy. It will be my duty on this program to select for you stories that have been drawn from the mystery of life itself. From time to time, I will invite leading actors, men like Peter Lorre, Bela Lugosi, Edmund Gwenn, Basil Rathbone, and others, to participate in our dramatic explorations. But enough of talk. Join with me now as we see unfolded before us the weird chronicle of the walking dead. Let me take you to the Black Island of Haiti, deep in the Caribbean, to a coffee plantation some 40 miles from the city of Port-au-Prince. It is long after dark, and the night is hot and sultry, deadly quiet, save for the rhythmic beating of native drums off in the distance. At long intervals, a human voice cries out, rising above the drums like the dismal wailing of a lost soul. On the porch of a cottage adjoining the plantation office, a man stares out into the darkness, obviously waiting for something. Suddenly a car swings into the open gate, its headlights blazing. It pulls up before the cottage, and a gray-haired man, carrying a black bag, steps out. He mounts the steps, and the man waiting on the porch greets him.
Dr. Nelson? Yes. I'm Walter Craig, manager of the plantation. Glad to know you, Mr. Craig. Sorry about being so late, but your call to the public health office somehow got lost in the shuffle. We've been under terrific pressure these last few days. Doctor, too late, eh? One of your foremen, wasn't it? Yes. He's still alive, but I don't think there's much you can do for him. Well, I'll try. Where is he? Across the road in that hut. But before you see him, I think I'd better tell you something about this. Go ahead. The man's name is Leroux. He's a Frenchman. He was released from the penal colony last April on probation. He came to me for a job, and I took him on because I needed help badly. I see. I put him in charge of a crew of native pickers, and he seemed to work out fine. He drove them hard, but he brought the crop in, and that's what counts. 10 days ago, one of his crew was found dead in the field. Someone had hit the poor beggar over the head with a bailing hook and split his skull. I questioned a couple of them, but, well, you know how they are, tight-lipped. All I could learn was that Leroux had an argument with the man just before the body was found. Leroux, of course, denied killing him. But that night, the rod of drums started to beat. They've been beating every night since. Why? The natives are certain Leroux murdered that beggar. They've been trying to put the hex on him. Hear that? It's the death wail. They know he's dying. They know it because they're killing him. Oh, now, hold on, Craig. It's all right to talk about native customs and black magic, but you can't kill people by beating drums and wailing. Doctor, how long have you been in Haiti? 6 months. But what difference does that make? I've been on the island for 15 years, and I've learned one thing. There's a great deal that goes on down here that we know nothing about, that we can't explain. Oh, now, you can call it voodoo or black magic or anything you wish, but it's there. Let me tell you what happened. Go ahead. The more they beat those drums at night, the more Leroux drove the devils during the day. I warned him to lay off, but he laughed. The night before last, I caught 2 of them sprinkling graveyard dirt around his hut. What's graveyard dirt? They believe that dirt dug from around a corpse can maim and kill. That's rubbish. Maybe it is. But remember this. These natives are experts on poisons. They use dogwood root and bamboo dust, both deadly and with no known antidote. They use dried and powdered lizard, and some stuff they get out of the gallbladders of alligators. Maybe there is something in graveyard dirt. I don't know. I doubt it very much. Well, at any rate, after I caught those two, I told LaRue he'd better get off the island if he knew it was good for him. He said he'd think it over. But they didn't give him a chance. This morning he couldn't get out of bed. His legs were paralyzed. I watched him all day, and the paralysis kept creeping up his body. He can scarcely breathe now, and he can't talk. All he does is mumble. That's strange. Let's get a look at him. I'd better tell Miss Carlyle you're here. She'll probably want to come along. Incidentally, she doesn't know anything about this except that LaRue is sick. Who's Miss Carlyle? Her father owns this plantation. He died back in the States last month. She came down a week ago to look things over. She's inside the cottage. I'd rather not have a woman present when I examine him, Craig, if it can be helped. Well, all right. Follow me. Wait a minute. What's the matter? The drums. They've stopped. Oh, that's fine. They were beginning to get on my nerves. Come on. No, wait. Do you hear anything? Low voices and the shuffling of feet? No. I do. I'd better get a flashlight. Good Lord. What's that? I thought something was wrong. They surrounded LaRue's hut.
Mr. Craig! Mr. Craig!
That's Miss Carlyle. Excuse me a minute. I'm out here on the porch.
What's happening? All of a sudden, those drums and that chanting. Oh, there's someone with you.
It's Dr. Nelson of the Public Health Office in Port-au-Prince. How do you do, Miss
Oh,
Carlyle?
I'm so glad you're here, Doctor. What's going on out there, Mr. Craig?
The natives have surrounded LaRue's hut.
Why?
I don't know. We'd better get to him, Craig, before they do some damage. That racket certainly can't help a dying man. It's too late now.
Too late. What do you mean?
There's only one way to get along with the natives down here, Miss Carlyle. Don't interfere with them. Leave them alone. That's all well and good, Craig, but you say a man's dying in that hut. I may be able to do something for him.
Of course, it's ridiculous. Order them back to their cabins, Mr. Craig.
They won't take orders now. They're wild with religious fervor. That chanting you hear goes back 1,000 years to when there were savages in the jungle.
Do you mean to say that you're going to stand
Just
by?
a minute, Miss Carlyle. I'll send the houseboy over to see what's going on. See inside?
Yes.
Sobo! What's more?
I don't quite understand why you can't order them away, Mr. Craig.
You'll understand if you're down here for any length of time.
Here comes the houseboy.
You call, mister?
Yes, Sobo. Go over to LaRue's hut and see what's happening.
No, mister, no can go. Him make Bokor chant. La Rue le mort. Bokor make l'amour.
What's he saying?
He says LaRue's dead. That's the Bokor chant we're hearing. They're going to take his body away. They're going to turn him into a zombie.
Oui, mister. Zombie.
Of all the ridiculous nonsense.
What's a zombie? What are you talking about?
A zombie, Miss Carlyle, is a corpse that's been brought back to life. Down here, they call them a walking dead.
Do you mean to stand there and tell me that you believe that?
I don't believe or disbelieve, Miss Carlyle. All I know is that for centuries the natives of Haiti have conducted weird rites. Sober here will tell you. Some of their ceremonies that make your hair stand on end. Is that any reason for letting a man die with savage drums beating in his ears? He's already dead.
How do we know?
They never used the Bokor chant except over a corpse.
Now, look, Mr. Craig, I own this plantation and you're employed by me. And I insist that you order those natives away from their hut.
Don't lose your temper, Miss Carlyle.
I'm not losing my temper,
Listen
but
to me a moment. I've had 15 years of Haiti. 15 years of learning how to get along with native help. You're not in the United States now. This isn't Georgia or Alabama. It's the West Indies. You're a foreigner in a strange land. A land where the roots of voodoo and black magic grow deep and strong.
We know all that, Craig, but the fact still remains.
Just a minute, Doctor. I've seen men disappear on this island. Vanish off the face of the earth. They were men who laughed at native superstition just the way you're laughing at it.
Don't be stupid, Mr. Craig. Nobody's laughing. We're trying to save a man's life. Why did you call Dr. Nelson from Port-au-Prince if you didn't intend him to examine LaRue?
Yes. 40 miles is a long way to come to listen to native drums. Neither of you can understand what I'm driving at, can you?
All I know is that a human being is lying in that hut, deathly sick. When I saw him this afternoon, he was in pitiful condition.
Nobody's denying that, Miss Carlyle.
Now you say he's dead, just because you hear some chanting and some drum beating. And you refuse to order those natives away so the doctor can examine
It
them.
isn't that I refuse, it's simply
Never
that...
mind. If you won't order them away, I will.
Miss Carlyle, come back. Miss Carlyle.
Craig, don't let us go over there alone.
Quick, Doctor, after us. We'll never find her this way, Craig. We'd better go back to the house and phone for help. We've got to find her. I don't trust those devils tonight. I never saw anything like it. She ran across the road toward the hut, and before we could get to her, they swallowed her up like an avenging cloud. And then they were gone. That's how they work. Did they take LaRue's body with them? Yes. Come on. We'll take a chance and bust in on their ceremony. I may be able to keep them in check. Are you sure it's safe? I'm not sure about anything. Keep that flashlight off. I don't want them to know we're coming. Let's go. You know, it's always been a mystery to me why the authorities haven't stepped in to control these natives. They've tried, but it doesn't work. This stuff is a religion with them. That's no excuse for killing and kidnapping. They only kill when someone has done them harm. LaRue had it coming to him. What about Miss Carlisle? She tried to interfere in one of their sacred ceremonies. Hold up a minute. Huh? I can see the light of their torches. Where? Over behind their shack. See them flickering? Oh, yes, I see them now. What's the devil? It's enough to make your blood run cold. That poor girl, if she's alive, must be out of her mind. Let's get a little closer. And keep your eyes open. They move like ghosts in the darkness. You can't hear them until they're on top of you. I certainly never expected to be stalking natives when I joined the public health service, I'll tell you that. Let's go. We'll sneak up behind the shacks and see what they're doing. All right. Incidentally, Craig, how many of them do you think there are? About 200. Good Lord. Under ordinary circumstances, they're quiet and peaceful. Oh, I should have known better than to keep LaRue on a plantation. All this is his doing. Well, it's too late now to blame anyone. Over this way, Doctor. Crouch down. There. You can see him now. Hold up. They're all kneeling in a circle, except the one in the middle. Who's he? The Bokor, I guess. The head man. Oh, they stopped chanting. Now what? I don't know. Anything can happen. Don't move. It's a new chant. He's asking me questions and answering. I've heard that before. I don't like the sound of it. Look, Doctor, you stay here. I'm going to walk right into that circle. You better be careful, Craig. That automatic isn't going to be much help against 200 maniacs. They'll have to tear you to pieces. I doubt it. Anyway, it's worth a chance. But wait, I better go with you. No, this isn't your affair. It's mine. In case I do run into trouble, get back to the house as fast as you can and put in a call to the police. Yes, I will. Okay. Wish me luck. Good luck, Craig. What was that? It's Sobo. He's crawling up behind us. I wondered what had happened to him. Go back out. Back they here. We've got to find the girl, Sobo, the missing lady. No. Bokar man make kill chant. That. What you say? That chant. It's the kill chant. Go back. Sobo bring missing lady. You know where she is? Sobo find. Is she alive? Ask him. Missing lady lives, Sobo. Sobo find. Sobo bring back. Go. All right. Come on, Doctor. Back to the house. I tell you, Craig, I don't trust your houseboy. It's been almost an hour since he sent us back here. The drum stopped beating long ago. He's always been trustworthy. He's been with me 15 years. Let's see if that phone works now. Maybe we can get through to Port-au-Prince. Well, what good will it do? They can't get here in less than an hour. And anyway, the whole police department couldn't tackle 200 of them. Hello? Ah, there's something wrong with the line. I've got a feeling we'll never see that girl again, Craig. Dead or alive. I warned her not to interfere. Why didn't she listen to me? Why didn't she stay where she belongs, back in the States? Haven't I enough trouble down here without this? Now, don't lose your head, Craig. Take it easy. Raving and ranting isn't going to get us anywhere. I suggest we go out there and look for her again. The drums and the chanting have stopped. Maybe they'll calm down. I'll go out. You get into your car and drive over to the Larimore plantation. It's about 10 miles from here on the road to Port-au-Prince. Get some help. You think there's time for that? Where are your other foremen? They're both in Port-au-Prince loading a coffee cargo. They would be away tonight of all nights. So anyway, I think that's the best plan. You go for help and I'll see if I can locate Sobo. Wait. I hear someone coming, Craig. Don't open the door. Why not? I'll open it. I've got a gun. Who is it? Who's out there?
Sobo, mister. I bring Mickey lady back my...
Get the flashlight off the table, Doctor. It's my houseboy. He's got Miss Carlisle.
Good Lord.
Where is she? Come on. Now you're inside, Sobo. Flash your light on the steps, Doctor. Yes, I am. Easy, Sobo. Easy. Watch the steps. The drums are beating again. Let them beat. All right, carry her in, Sobo, and put her on the couch. Close the door, Doctor. Be sure it's locked. Yes, all right. Put her down, Sobo, carefully. Let me look at her, Craig. In the meantime, get some water. Water, Sobo. You're all right now, Miss Carlisle. Just relax. Open my bag, Craig. You'll find some spirits of ammonia. Right. There now. Just relax. There you are. Thank you. Now, just breathe deeply, Miss Carlisle. That's fine. Once more. There we are. Here comes the water. Oh, pour some in the glass. Put it on the table, Sobo. You feel better now, don't you?
Yes.
Here you are, Doctor.
Oh, thank you. Now, drink this, Miss Carlisle. Here, I'll hold your head up. There now.
Just lean back.
It was horrible. Simply horrible.
I don't think you better talk for a while.
I've got to tell you. They put his body in a grave. An open grave.
LaRue's?
Yes.
What happened when you ran across the road toward the hut?
I don't know. Suddenly they were surrounding me. I could see their teeth flashing in the darkness. I screamed, and that's all I remember until I woke up.
Yes?
I was lying on the ground. They were all kneeling around the grave. His body was in it. There was a torch burning, and one of them was chanting.
What's that? Sobo says the man chanting was the Bokor. The one who makes the dead rise and become zombies. Oh, I think we've had enough of native superstition tonight, Craig. Let's stick to the facts. How did you get away from them, Miss Carlyle?
No one was watching me. They were all watching the body in the grave. I crawled off in the darkness, and Sobo found me, brought me back here.
Yes, well, it's all over now. You had us worried for a while. I think you'd better try to get some sleep.
I can't sleep. All I keep seeing is that poor man's body.
Don't think about it.
But isn't there anything we can do? Isn't there some way of giving him a decent burial?
You might as well know what this is all about, Miss Carlyle. LaRue murdered one of the natives.
Oh.
Murdered him 10 days ago. They've been out to get him ever since in their own way. That's why the drums were beating every night. I told you it was their usual ceremony just so as not to frighten you. But it was more than that. They were seeking revenge. And now they've got it.
You mean because he's dead?
That's only part of it. They're going through the zombie ritual now. That's what you saw at the open grave. According to their belief, they can bring LaRue back to life. Make him a living corpse who'll obey their orders.
Well, then why were they putting his body in a grave?
That's part of the ceremony. They bury him until midnight. Then the corpse rises as a zombie. That's right, isn't it, Sobo?
Why, it's the most ghastly thing I ever heard of.
And the most ridiculous. I wouldn't be too sure about that, Dr. Nelson.
How long does the person remain a zombie?
As long as they want him to. The Bokor, the head man, controls that. They can stop it at will. How? You're asking me questions I can't answer, Doctor. Questions I wouldn't even attempt to answer. But this much I know. There are zombies on this island right now. How they came into being, I don't know. But they're here. I don't believe it. I hope I never have to prove it to you, Doctor.
Do these zombies talk and act like human beings?
No. It's a horrible thing to say, but they look dead. Their eyes are hollow and their skin has no color. They walk like people in a dream, heavy-footed and leaden. When they try to speak, all that comes out is weird mouthings. It isn't very pleasant, I can assure you.
And that's what they're going to do with LaRue?
I suppose so.
Why?
Revenge. As I told you, he not only killed one of them, but he drove them unmercifully. Once he's a zombie, they'll drive him, make him sweat. He'll become their slave. Do anything they order. You know that's nonsense, Craig. I'm not so sure, Doctor. Have you ever seen a zombie, a living corpse? Only once. And I never want to see another.
You mean there are actually people who've been raised from the dead?
Of course not. You can take it from me as a physician that death is final. Absolutely final. Perhaps throughout the rest of the world. But not in Haiti. Now listen, Craig. All your men seem to do is frighten this girl. I think perhaps the best thing, Miss Carlyle, would be for you to drive back into Port-au-Prince with me. Just midnight. We'll be there at 1:30. How about it?
I don't know.
It's a good idea. Chances are nothing's going to happen, but... What is it, Sobo?
Step on the porch.
What? You said you heard steps on the porch. Don't be alarmed. I don't hear anything. Step. Where's the flashlight? I have it here in my pocket. Wait. Don't move.
What's that?
Sobo's right. Someone is on the porch. You stand over there with a flash, Doctor. Right. Get back, Sobo. I'll open the door.
No.
Stand back, I said.
Craig, listen. Somebody. No.
Doctor, take him into a bedroom and come back here. Hurry.
Yes, come, Miss Carlyle. Please don't open the door.
Get out of here, Doctor.
Come, my dear.
There's nothing to be afraid of.
Somebody.
I know, but we'll take care of him. Dr. Nelson.
Yes, I'm coming.
Stand back, Sobo. That's it.
Miss Carlyle's right now, Craig.
Good. Now, stand behind me a little to the left and keep that flashlight on the door.
You're not serious about it being a zombie, are you, Craig?
Whatever it is, it didn't sound human. All set now?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to open the door. Keep that light steady, Doctor.
The door's locked, you know. I locked it when we came in.
I know.
Craig, perhaps it might be better to...
Don't worry, there are 6 bullets in this automatic. That should be enough. Get ready now. Here goes. There's nobody out there.
Careful, Craig.
porch is empty. Are you sure? Positive. Come on there with that flashlight. You too, Sobo. We heard heavy footsteps, didn't we? And that weird moaning? Yes, but there's no one here now. Flash the light around. That's it. See anything? No. Not a thing. Well, there may be some footprints in the driveway. Let's check. It's hard to tell at night. There's a good clear print. That could be mine when I got out of the car. Matter of fact, it is. I suggest, Craig, that we lock up and remain in the house until daylight. No sense taking chances. Probably the best idea. What I don't understand is... Good Lord, that's Miss Carlisle. Come on, Solo, follow me. What room is she in? It was the end of the hall. What happened?
The window. He was standing at the window.
Who was standing at the window, Miss Carlisle? LaRue.
Yes. I've never seen anything so horrible.
You're sure it wasn't your imagination?
Oh, no, I saw his face. It was like a death mask. His lips were blue and his skin was ghostly white.
Good Lord. Solo. You stay here with Miss Carlisle. The doctor and I are going out front. If you see or hear anything, yell.
Please don't go far.
We won't. Come on, Doctor. What do you make of it, Craig? I don't know what to make of it. Do you think she really saw someone at the window? Wouldn't be a bit surprised. Watch those porch steps. I noticed one of them's a little rickety. What do you propose to do, Craig? Take a look around. Stick close and keep that light swinging. That's fine. I really think we'd be much better off if we locked all doors and windows. Hold up. What is it? I thought I heard someone moving up ahead. Swing your light slowly to the left, across the road. Easy. Easy. Hold it. Lord in heaven. It's a man staring at us. It's LaRue. He's running away. Keep your light on him. LaRue! LaRue! Stop or I'll shoot! You missed him. He's ducking in that hut. His own hut. We've got him now. The two front windows in the door are the only exits. Come on. Right. All right. It's far enough. You take the gun, Doctor. I'll go back with some rags and some oil. Rags and oil? What for? I'm going to set that hut on fire. Craig, are you out of your mind? You can't burn a man alive. What makes you think he's alive? He's got to be alive. We saw him running. You still won't admit that strange things happen here on the island, will you? Strange? Yes, but... All right, if you think he's alive, we'll take him alive. Get down low and crawl towards that hut. Keep your light out. Steady. Yes. The door of the hut's open. When we get close enough, flash your light through. You see, you can't get out any other way? No. The door or the front windows. I'm watching them all. If this 38 doesn't stop him, nothing will. Is this far enough? I think so. I'm ready if you are. Go ahead. Flash the light through the open door. The hut's empty. No, it isn't. He's stretched out on the bed. See him? Yes. What's he doing that for? I don't know. Keep the light on him. Come on. This may be a trap, Craig. Be careful. I'm watching him. Hold the light steady. Steady as I can. Are we going into the hut? Yes. Come right behind me. Well, there he is, Doctor. Hold the light, Craig. Let me get a look at him. Keep it on his face. Miss Carlisle was right. His lips are blue and his skin is ghostly white. Are you sure this man is LaRue, your foreman? Yes. I can't believe it. What do you mean? Is this the man we saw running into the hut? Yes, of course. And you were right. Evidently, strange things do happen on this island. They do? Yes, Craig. This man has been dead for 3 hours.
That, my friends, was The Walking Dead.
And now, the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the Hall of Fantasy. Welcome to the series of radio dramas dedicated to the supernatural, the unusual, and the unknown. Come with me, my friends. We shall descend to the world of the unknown and forbidden. Down to the depths where the veil of time is lifted, and the supernatural reigns as king. Come with me and listen to the tale of the Shadow People.
Elaine, have you seen anything else since you spoke to me last?
No, I haven't. Ever since Mother died, nothing's happened.
Well, I only hope it came from upstairs. Come on. I don't know what to think. I only hope it...
David, if anything's happened to him...
We'll see in a moment.
There's no light in this room.
You wait here, Elaine. Where's the light?
Over to your left. David. What's wrong? Why didn't you leave the light on?
Your father's dead, Elaine.
In just a moment, the Hall of Fantasy will present The Shadow People. And now for our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Shadow People.
Somewhere along the line of your life, you've met them. You have come in contact with the Shadow People. When did we first discuss it? Oh, yes, Brian and Elaine and I. It was in my apartment. There was only one light on in the entire place. What's wrong? Elaine, what's the matter?
Oh, it's silly, I know, but I thought I saw something in that doorway over there.
Where?
Over there, right over there. Where are you going, David?
Over to that archway, just to let you know that nothing's here. Huh. You see, Elaine, nothing's wrong, nothing at all. Are you satisfied that there's no one else here but us?
Yes, I'm sorry. I just thought that Leave the overhead lights on.
I'm sorry, I thought that...
Put them back on, David, please.
All right, Elaine. Well, what's bothering you, sis?
I don't know. It's just that... I don't know.
Tell us about it, Elaine. Tell us what's bothering you.
You promise that you won't laugh at me?
Of course not.
Brian?
Elaine, I'm your brother. If something's troubling you, I'd like to know about it.
All right, then. The reason I was so upset was the fact that I saw someone or something standing in that archway.
But Elaine, David showed you that there was no one else in here. When the lights were put on, you saw for yourself if we were alone.
I'm not talking about something you can see in the light, Brian. I'm not talking about a human being.
And what's it all about, Elaine?
In darkness, I saw something that can't be seen in a lighted area. And I've seen it several times before.
You're sure you're not imagining this, Elaine?
Oh, I don't have that good an imagination, Brian.
How long have you seen this thing, Elaine?
Well, it started about 6 weeks ago. You were in Detroit on business, Brian. Mom and Dad were on vacation. I was in the house by myself, in the library. There was only one light on. I sat in the chair beneath it, reading. Several times I thought that something was watching me. I felt there was someone in the room with me, standing right in back of me. Every so often I'd glance back over my shoulder, but there seemed to be nothing there. And then I thought I heard someone whispering. I wasn't sure, but when I heard it again, I got up and I looked all over the house. Oh, I'm not easily frightened, you know that, but out in the hallway, it was almost entirely black. Luckily, I was near a light switch. I looked back over my shoulder, and I saw this huge, hulking shape for the first time. And I heard a voice. Or rather, the whisper of a voice. I couldn't distinguish the words, but that dark shape seemed to be moving towards me. My hand was on the light switch, and I turned it on. In a minute, the light flooded the hallway. The shape was gone. There was nothing there. I was alone again. As long as there's light, I know it can't hurt me. I know it can't reach me.
You might have imagined it, you know.
Of course, that's possible, but I'm sure I didn't. It was so real. So real, that shape in the darkness. It was the very essence of evil itself.
There was an old man I knew of, a Dr. Heselius. I'd heard that he knew quite a good deal about the supposed supernatural manifestations which had taken place in the world. I went to him to see if he knew anything that might explain the events of the story Elaine had told us.
Yes, my good sir. What do you wish?
I have an appointment with Dr. Heselius.
Oh, yes. If he mentioned something about it. You are Mr. Drake.
Yes.
If you'll come inside.
Thank you.
Dr. Heselius is in the study. Please come with me. Doctor, a visitor for you.
Oh, yes. Bring him in. You may go now.
Yes, Doctor.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Sit down, please, in that chair over there.
Thank you, sir.
Now, what is the nature of your visit to me?
Well, I understand, Dr. Vasilius, that you have a great knowledge of the supernatural manifestations which have occurred on the earth.
Great knowledge, Mr. Drake? No, hardly that. I have only scratched the surface in my years of study. Perhaps I can help you, then again, perhaps I cannot.
Well, may I tell you the story?
By all means, my good sir.
All right. Now, this didn't happen to me, Doctor, but to my fiancée. It seems that about 6 weeks ago, when she was alone. But when the light was on, the dark form disappeared. And that's the story, sir. As much of it as I can remember.
Mm-hmm. I see. It's a strange tale you tell.
I'm fully aware of that, Dr. Vasilius.
You say she seemed to hear whispered voices?
Yes, that's what she says.
I see. A moment, please. I have a book in my file. Oh, yes. Here it is. This is the one. Yes. Perhaps I may be able to help you after all. Let me see. This is a very ancient book, Mr. Drake. I seem to remember... Yes. Here is an account of a happening such as you relate. And we shall live on the earth, and they shall
not see us. Yes, it has been foretold by the ruler of the darkness. They who live by day, retire to sleep by night, shall never know that we walk with them, that we watch them, that we wait for our chance. Only in the night will they see us, for in the daylight we are not seen. Only in the night, when the darkness grows together and the forms of the shadow people are shaped from the blackness, they will know us.
Then they will know that we are their companions, for we are the shadow people. I knew I had read something similar to the story you have told me, Mr. Drake.
Dr. Vasilius, what can we do?
Well, give me a little time. Let me see if I can find any more references to these people of the darkness. One more thing, Mr. Drake.
Yes.
Be sure that your fiancée is never left alone at night. Be sure that there is some living thing, animal or human, which accompanies her every second of the night. For she is in danger, Mr. Drake. A terrible danger.
Back now to our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Shadow People.
That night, the night of the day I had seen Cecilius, Elaine's mother died. She died in her sleep. When she failed to appear for breakfast, Elaine's father went upstairs to see what was wrong. When he entered her room, he discovered that she was dead. The family doctor couldn't explain it, for Elaine's mother had been in perfect health. A few weeks later, I was out at the house spending a weekend with them. I glanced at the clock on the mantel, and it showed 11.
I can't understand why Brian hasn't returned from town.
Well, he said he had some extra work to catch up on. He told me this morning that he might be late.
11 o'clock. I'm going upstairs. Glad you came out, David. Good seeing you again.
It's a pleasure to be here, sir.
Well, don't stay up too late. See you both in the morning. All right.
Night, Dad.
Good night, Mr. Davis.
He isn't the same, David. Ever since Mother died, he hasn't been the same.
I didn't realize that until tonight. He's changed.
I only hope that he'll start living again. Ever since she died, it seems that a part of him died with her.
Elaine, have you seen anything else since you spoke to me last?
No, I haven't. Ever since Mother died, nothing's happened.
Well, I only hope that... Came from upstairs. Come on.
You don't think...
I don't know what to think. I only hope that...
David, if anything's happened to it...
We'll see in a moment.
There's no light in this room.
You wait here, Elaine. Where's the light?
Over to your left. David, what's wrong? Why didn't you leave the light on?
Your father's dead, Elaine. I had walked into the darkened bedroom. On the bed was Elaine's father. It didn't take a second look for me to know that he was dead. I switched off the light and walked back into the hallway to tell Elaine what happened. And then from the room there had come an eerie, quiet laughter. In the darkness of that room was some unknown evil power. The voice itself was unearthly. There was no substance to it. It sounded as if it came from the darkness itself.
No. No, I don't believe you.
It's the truth, Elaine. There's nothing more I can do. We'll have to notify the police.
Tell me it's not the truth, David. Tell me it's not true.
I'm sorry, Elaine. I wish I could. Your father's dead. After the burial, Dr. Heselius got in touch with me. He said that he wanted to meet both Elaine and Brian, that he wanted to talk to the three of us. Accordingly, a few nights later, he came out to their house.
Miss Davis, will you tell me just when you saw the first manifestation?
The night Brian was in Detroit.
Now, Miss Davis, you have even seen this apparition in the company of other people, is that correct?
Yes. The night at David's apartment.
All right. Now I'll tell you what I think. You are in deadly danger, Miss Davis. These beings want to claim you. So far, they have had no success. Only in the darkness do they have power. Little by little, step by step, they have been removing the obstacles in their way to reaching you. First your mother, and then your father, Miss Davis. Both died in the same fashion. In the darkness, death struck at them. Now tell me, do you feel their presence here in this room as I talk to you?
Yes.
Turn out the lights, Brian. No. Stand by the switch, if you please, Brian. If anything happens, turn the lights back on.
All right. Dr. Heselius, I don't...
Do you want me to continue working with you?
Yes, sir.
All right, then. Brian, turn off the lights.
Yes, Doctor.
The room now is in darkness, Miss Davis. Do you feel or see anything?
No, Yes. Yes, I do.
Do you see anything?
Yes.
Doctor, I don't...
Be quiet, you fool. I know what I'm doing.
In front of me. The darkness gathering together into a huge, terrible...
Not only do you see us, Miss Davis, but everyone else in the room also will see the vague shapes forming themselves in the blackness. We do not want you, Dr. Heselius. The girl we want. We advise you to drop this case. You'll only bring down the wrath of the shadow people upon your head. The girl. We want the girl. Do not stop us. Let us take her now.
Turn on the light.
They're gone.
Miss Davis, are you all right?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Just as she said. The darkness. I saw it form into something, too. So did I. What are we going to do, Dr. Heselius?
At the present moment, I don't know. But it's much I do know. You must leave this house immediately. You must try to get out of their reach. I don't know if that is possible. I hope it is. I shall have to return to my home. I must learn if there is some manner by which we can defeat these creatures. For the moment, leave this house. Dispose of it in any manner you may see fit, but leave this house.
Back now to our story. An original tale of fantasy by Richard Thorne entitled The Shadow People.
We spent the night in my apartment, the three of us. The following day, Brian and Elaine made arrangements to dispose of the house. In the afternoon, Dr. Heselius called me and asked that I come to see him.
David, I'm glad you're here.
Anything new, Doctor?
Yes and no. You realize, of course, that this spiritual manifestation is not new, that it has gone on for centuries.
No, I wasn't aware of that.
It's true, David. De Maupassant wrote what was supposedly a fiction story about the manifestation, David. He called it the Orla. However, according to the information here on my desk, it was taken from an actual case history. Of course, he embroidered the story, added a few touches to something he didn't realize actually existed.
But have you found anything with which we can fight them?
Everything depends upon an answer I received from a colleague of mine in Paris, Dr. Henri Renaud. I dispatched a telegram to him last night.
Why hasn't he answered by now?
There are certain things that must be done. It will take a few days, I'm afraid. We have to wait, David. There's nothing else we can do.
In the next few days, the house was sold, and Brian and Elaine moved into a newer, more modern home a few miles from my apartment. Cecilia said it might take a few days for them to build up their power. I spent the night at the new house. The lights were left on, and I watched for any unusual occurrence. In the daytime, I'd return to my apartment and get some sleep. About 4 days after Elaine and Brian moved into the new house, I was at home when Cecilius phoned me. Hello?
David?
Yes, Dr. Cecilius?
I hate to tell you this, David.
What's the matter? What's wrong?
They were a step ahead of me, David. I just received word that Renaud died or was killed at the very moment I sent the telegram to him.
Step by step, they had outwitted us. For they had anticipated every move we'd make. Even Dr. Cecilius was at a loss as to what to do. He agreed to meet me at the Davis house.
What did you want to say us about, Dr. Cecilius?
Did you find out anything more?
I'm sorry to say that I haven't. At the moment, I'm at a complete loss. I don't know what to do.
But what did you want to see us about this evening?
Merely to check, to see if anything else has happened. Miss Davis, have you seen or heard anything?
Not in the house. Only in my dreams.
Your dreams?
Yes. When I go to sleep at night, in my dreams, in the darkness, I see them.
And it's grown worse, much worse. I was hoping that it would not have progressed so far. There has been no disturbance in this house, but now they disturb your sleep, Miss Davis. Now, you must stay awake for as long as you can. I want the three of you to move into my house. Perhaps that will give you more protection.
That night, we moved over to Cecilia's house. Perhaps Elaine would have more protection there. From there, we might be able to devise some plan of action, some way to beat those beings. For a few days, things were quiet. The shadow people seemed to have withdrawn. For a while, I thought that we might have succeeded in thwarting their purpose. Elaine no longer complained of troubled sleep. But that condition lasted for a few days only. About 10 days later, they made themselves known and felt again. That night, we were in the study, when suddenly Cecilius whirled around and...
Elaine, what are you looking at?
Outside the house. Right where the light leaves off, I see them.
She's right, Dr. Cecilius. I can see them, too. What should we do, Doctor?
Nothing.
What do you mean, nothing?
There's nothing we can do.
We can't just...
We can't do anything, Brian. Don't you understand that they have us at their mercy? Greatest man in my field was Henri Renaud. If he could do nothing against them, what do you think we can do?
He's right, Brian. There's nothing we can do.
As long as the house remains lighted, just so long will they remain outside. If the lights were to...
That sounds...
When my father was killed, the same sound. We heard the same sound.
The lights. What's happened to the lights, all right?
I don't know.
Be quiet, please. I thought of this emergency.
A candle.
That's right, Miss Davis. As long as this burns, this one candle will be safe. For they cannot advance into the light. They are limited by the darkness. As long as the candle burns, they will have to remain outside of this room.
Around you, in every room of the house, in the darkness outside, we are around you. This time you shall not escape. This time we will claim you.
Take it easy, Brian. I can't stand it. I'm getting out of here.
Brian, come back.
Don't be a fool. I'm going after him.
Stay here.
We just can't let him
He
go.
won't have a chance. I doubt if he... Miss Davis, I'm afraid that your brother is dead.
The wind, Doctor. Listen to the wind.
I know.
Yes, Doctor. Listen to the wind. You must realize by now that the three of you haven't a chance. You must know in your minds that we can destroy you at any moment we desire. But, Dr. Heselius, you may still save your own life. Let the others go. Give them to us.
No. No, you will have to take all of us.
Shall we destroy your light? Shall we move in on you now?
As you will. Do as you will. I'm sorry, David. The candle is out.
In the darkness. The figures in the darkness. We warned you, Heselius. You and the others are dead now. And we shall live on the earth. And man in the day shall not see us. They will know that we wait for our chance. That we walk with them. Only in the night, when the darkness grows together, and the forms of the shadow people are shaped from the blackness, will they see us. Then they will know that we are their companions. Look next to you. There, in the shadows.
So runs tonight's tale of the unusual, the terrifying, the unknown. Join us again when next we journey down the corridors of the Hall of Fantasy to hear another strange tale of the supernatural. All characters and events portrayed in these programs are fictional, and any similarity to actual events or persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental.
Flown. I have sailed. I have moved about this world of ours, and ever in search of the finest of its kind, we bring you the tops in spine chillers. The creaking door. The manufacturers of State Express 3/5 Filter King cigarettes take pleasure in presenting The Creaking Door. Good evening, friends of the creaking door. The creaking door is open, so do come in. Feeling the chill of these winter's evenings? Wait until you've been with us a little while. You'll freeze with fear.
The cemetery caretaker and the ashen-faced, trembling young man make an odd pair as they stand by an open grave under the pale moon. In the grave itself is a coffin. The lid has been prized open, and inside the corpse of a middle-aged man. The caretaker warns,
Oh, I've heard about blokes like you. Read about grave robbers. I never thought I'd come across one. Yeah, I've sent for the cops, young man. Don't you try no rough stuff. I'm a match for you any day.
But you don't understand.
Hey.
I tried to save his life, and now it's too late.
Yeah, don't you give me that. This fellow was given a decent Christian burial. You desecrated...
Desecrated, you say? Isn't it desecration to bury a man while he's still alive?
Yeah, what you talking about? You don't think people go around being buried alive these days, do you? I don't know what to make of you. I watched you this afternoon. I thought you looked a bit peculiar. I knew what you was doing at a pauper's burial.
You shouldn't have had a pauper's burial. You shouldn't have been buried at all. I could have saved you.
You better think up a good story. Something told me that you was up to no good. No, don't you try no rough stuff. I've already warned you. I watched you. The police are on their way. Breaking open a coffin like that. I knew you was up to something, but I never thought...
It's because I let him get buried alive, and I was ashamed. Let him get buried alive for a measly £50. Now he's dead.
Hey, you come out of a loony bin or something. Now that I've had a better look at you don't look like no grave robber.
I'm not. Listen.
What's he to you, this fellow we buried today, eh?
Nothing. Except I'm responsible for his death. I touched him. He's cold. Cold as...
Yes. He's only been in the ground a few hours. They don't stay cold like that. Sometimes we get an exhumation order. We have to dig him up, see? You'll be surprised how warm they get.
He is dead, isn't he? I mean, I brought this piece of mirror with me. There's no breath. Look.
I don't have to look. He's been in the municipal ward for 2 days. He's given a pauper's burial. Now then, what's it all about, young man? I want to go home. He was dead all right when they buried him.
But not when the ambulance took him to the morgue. You see, I know.
You know? Oh, is he a relative of yours?
I never knew he existed until 2 days ago. I've been tramping the streets looking for work. I didn't want to go home. If you could call that one-room bedsitter let an eye occupy a home. It was still ringing in my ears, the things she shouted at me as I left them.
I've come to the end of my tether. I've pawned everything. Look, even the wedding ring you slipped on my finger in the church. What did he say? And all thy worldly goods. Huh. That's a laugh. You were going to share all your worldly goods, were you? Well, if you don't get some money or a job, I'm walking out on you, do you hear? I'm walking out on you, and I'll go and live with my sister. At least I'll get some warmth and 3 square meals a day.
Oh, don't say that, Lil. Was it my fault that I fell sick? That I'm not allowed to work in the factory anymore? I've tried, Lil, I really have. Everywhere I go, they look at me and say, no vacancies.
Not my fault either. I warn you, Joe Harris. I can't take much more of this.
I know, honey, I know. I'll get something today. Really, I will. I promise. It was a promise I couldn't keep. Pounding the pavement, watching the dislike and fear in the eyes of the well-fed as they said, no, thank you. Fear that one day they might become like me. And then I saw him. I was cutting through Duke's Lane. Nothing on either side except a huge brick wall. He was a short, fat little man. Our steps were loud in the quiet thoroughfare. I don't know what he's stopping for. Does he think I might be caution? That I'm a gangster or something? I suppose I look like something that crawled out of a piece of cheese. Well, I'll be... Governor, you all right? He can't be. He's gone pale. Don't seem to be any breathing. I wonder who he is. Let's see. He must have something in his pocket. Holy. Blimey. All this money, but must be 50 quid here at least. Oh, swine. What good is his money now? I better call a cop.
If you don't get some money or a job, I'm walking out on you, do you hear? I'm walking out.
There's nothing anybody can do for this poor swine. I'll find him soon enough.
What does the guard do in a case like this? Beat it, you fool. Beat it with the first decent money you've had in months. Somebody will find him. Run! Leo.
Joe, you've got some money.
That's right, Leo. 2 £5 notes, 31 £1 notes, and the rest in 10 bob notes.
Oh.
It all adds up very nicely. 50 quid in all.
Oh, Joe, honey. Hi. How did you get this money? You didn't go and do anything silly, did you?
Such as what? Rob a bank? I wouldn't know how to start.
But how did you get it?
You'll never believe it. Remember I told you that when I was in the sanatorium, there was a fellow there with the same lung trouble named Ted Brown?
Yes.
Well, I lent him a quid.
You lent him a quid?
Well, I was still drawing my wages, wasn't I? We didn't know that the doctor wouldn't let me go back to the factory. Wasn't so bad then.
All right, but what about this Ted Brown?
Well, I'll meet him in the street, see? Says he'd been looking for me everywhere. Wanted to repay me the quid.
Go on.
Well, we goes into a pub to have a drink. There was a bookie there, and Ted said he had a hot tip for the double. It won, Neil. 50 smackers.
Oh, Joe. 50 smackers. Oh, I love you.
Lil went to get some groceries and a couple of bottles of beer. I sat on the bed and had a further look at the wallet. Having taken the money out, I thought it would be empty. There were 2 pockets, both with plastic windows. The first held a card which said, Harold Maxted, 26 Fairley Street, Hornsey. And then I looked at the second plastic window. There were strange words printed on a white card. It said, I'm not dead. I'm subject to a form of cataleptic illness which may appear to cause death. If I'm found, notify Dr. Alfred Miller, Hornsey, 6641. No, it can't be. Not dead. Cataleptic. What have I done? What have I done? They'll think he's... Oh, no. Telephone. I must telephone. But Lil, she'll wonder what I've forgotten. I've given her all my money.
Yeah, all right. Take a look at this. Here, suck this bottle from me, will you? Joe? What is it?
What time is it, darling?
I don't know. The pub was just opening, just after 6, I should say. Why?
Give me 10 bob. Do you get any change? I need some silver. I have to telephone. I won't be long, though.
What is it?
Well, I've just got to telephone someone.
You're not going gambling, are you? You haven't got the bug. You're not betting on tomorrow's races or anything like that, are you, Joe? There are all those bills to be paid.
I know, love, I know. No, I'm not gambling, but I need it, please. I'll be back in a little while. It's just that... Please, Lil.
All right. Here you are. Joe?
It's all right, love. Would I be too late with a phone call? Would they bury this poor guy Maxted, not knowing he was a cataleptic, thinking he was dead? This would be the model of the doctor's consulting room or his private house. Can I speak to Dr. Miller, please?
Dr. Miller's gone abroad. He's been away for the last 6 weeks.
Abroad? Oh, no. Have you taken over his practice, sir?
No, I'm not a medical man. But if you're in need of a doctor, there must be plenty.
Oh, no, isn't that... You don't know which hospital Dr. Miller was at?
I'm afraid I can't help you. I must go. My wife's shouting. The dinner's on the table.
I'm sorry. Thank you. And then another thought seared my brain. A hole in the ground. A long wooden box and a man being buried. Being buried alive. And a shovel. Heaping earth on the wooden boards. Maxted. There must be a Maxted in the telephone directory. There was 14 Maxteds. Everyone alive and bad-tempered.
No, I
operators who suffer from a catalytic illness. There are plenty of other Maxters in the book. Try them.
I have. You're Mr. Zachariah Maxted. You're the last on the list.
Well, I can't help you.
What now? Do I go along to the police and say, look, I stole a man's wallet. Somebody might be shoving him in 6 foot of earth. What do I do? I decided to sleep on it. Sleep. That's a laugh. Oh, this buried alive. Love you, Lou. Love you. Please. Pinching white. They're putting me in a wooden box. And it's your fault, Joe Harris. I'm struggling for breath. They're going to bury me. Bury me deep. But not deep enough, Joe. Get me out of this or I'll make you suffer here on earth and in the beyond. Better do something about it pretty soon. Otherwise, the poor, unfortunate cataleptic gentleman will be stiff with the cold. But let us see what he does do. I didn't know what to do. It was less than 6 hours since I saw that chap Paul. Maybe he's still there. Maybe if I go back to Duke's Lane, he'll still be lying there.
Joe?
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to wake you up.
It's the middle of the night. Where are you going?
I won't be long.
No, Joe, you're not going anywhere. I thought you'd been acting strange. Oh, Joe, I know I've nagged you and threatened you, but it was only because you were getting so down, so beaten. I love you, Joe. I don't want you to be doing anything that will put you in prison.
It isn't that at all.
Well, what is it?
All right, Lou, I'll tell you. And then you'll see why I have to go. And so I told her. Told her the whole story of how I robbed a man I thought was dead. A corpse that had no use for the 50 quid in his wallet. So you see, I've got to find him. Or find out where they've taken him. They'll think he's dead, Liz.
Joe, somebody will have found him by now. He's probably lying in bed fast asleep. People who have these sort of fits soon recover.
No, they don't. After I'd phoned all the Maxters I could, I went into the Hornsby Library and I looked it up. Unless they get assistance, they can stay that way for days. By then, they'll bury him. And you know what that makes me? A murderer. I'm letting a man die for 50 quid.
Oh, no, Joe. Why don't you phone the police station? Why don't you phone the Hornsby police station? Tell them the... Oh, no, Joe, no, you can't do that. They'll call you a thief and put you away. Look, I'm getting dressed. I'm coming with you. Where did you say it was? Duke's Lane. Joe, let's pray he's still there.
Well, that might be worse. He might have died for lack of attention. Let's pray someone saw him and took him to hospital and they realized he wasn't dead.
It's a copper.
It's a bit nippy this time of the morning, isn't it? Going off night work, are you? What?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, there was a little commotion in Duke's Lane a few hours ago, so my friend Phyllis told me. Something happened in Duke's Lane.
Oh, yes. Just before I came on duty. Postman saw a bloke lying in the lane here, dropped dead.
Dead?
They sure he's dead?
So the police surgeon said. Why? Know anything about it?
No, we don't know anything about it. It was just that... Well, we wondered if it was anybody we knew, that's all.
Oh. Well, I believe they've identified him all right. If you nip round to the station, they may be able to tell you.
Oh, I don't think it's anybody we know. Oh, come on, lad. Too cold to stand here chatting. Let's go off to bed.
You two married? Yes. He should have been in bed ages ago. Or rather, good morning.
Let's go to the police station.
No, Joe, no. You have to explain about the wallet. Besides, this policeman doesn't really know. Please come home.
But, Lil...
It's no good, Joe. We're going home. Come on.
coffee, Joe?
No, thanks. Look, it's no good. We've got to go to the police. We're committing murder. It's 2 days now. I didn't sleep a wink all night last night. Kept having nightmares. Hearing Maxted's voice pounding in my brain. Pounding my brain. Telling me to save him before it's too late.
You're the only one that can save me, Alice. They're burying me this afternoon. They're putting me in a coffin and they're going to cover me with earth. If you allow this to happen to me, you're a murderer, Joe Addis. A murderer, do you hear? You'll be punished. Punished. Punished.
He kept saying I'd be punished.
But you said yourself it's only a nightmare. All right, don't you go, I will. I'll say that I know... What was his name?
Maxted. Harold Maxted.
I'll say I know him and he's a cataleptic. That's it. I'll go there right away. Excuse me?
Hello. Aren't you the young lady I saw down Duke's Lane the other night?
Yes, that's right. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. You know we were talking about someone who dropped dead that afternoon. Well, were you able to identify him?
Yes, we were able to identify him all right. Why?
He's a cataleptic. He's not really dead, you know.
Oh, don't be funny. Got the card here. They're burying him this afternoon. He's in the Ornstein mortuary. Cardiac failure. This is the release for the body for him to be buried, signed by the police surgeon, Dr. Herbert Spencer. He may have been a cataleptic, I don't know about that, but he died of heart failure. Being buried in a pauper's grave at Hornsey Cemetery, 3 o'clock this afternoon. Did die of heart failure, indeed. Not dead.
Oh, well, maybe I'm being a bit silly. Thank you, Constable. Good night. Sure, he's dead. The death certificate was signed by the police surgeon.
Oh, what did that copper know about cataleptics? Had the doctor known he was a cataleptic? I'm going to stop the burial.
You can't, Joe. You can't. Won't you tell the police about that wallet? Where are you going, Joe?
I don't know. Get drunk. I don't know anything anymore. Even my glass of beer went sour in my mouth. I bought it with blood money. The blood of Harold Maxted. I left the pub and walked. So they were burying him in a pauper's grave, were they? I didn't ask my feet to move towards the cemetery. It seemed as though they didn't belong to me. They were burying him as I got there. The minister, the grave digger, and an old man. Obviously the caretaker, plus a police sergeant. I wanted to shout, Don't put him in that grave. He's not a corpse, he's alive. Couldn't. Those 3 stripes on a copper sleeve seemed to represent a number of years I might get for stealing and for withholding information. I ran from the cemetery as though I were running from the vengeance of Maxted himself.
Hello, Joe.
They buried him, I saw them do it. A cheap wooden coffin. Or maybe it's a good thing the coffin was a cheap one. Maybe the death watch beetle got it. Maybe there are holes in it. Maybe the poor swan will be able to breathe. 50 measly nicker, 50 rotten pounds, and I've turned myself into a murderer. You, Lila, they'll nab you too. They'll say you were part of the conspiracy. What have I done to you? What have I done to us?
Nothing, Joe. All right, how you pinched his wallet when we were both starving. No one can have you up for murder.
Well, it's beside the point now, isn't it, Lil? He's down there struggling for breath, isn't he? He won't be struggling for long. I don't know anything about cataleptics, but you can't be nailed inside a coffin underneath 6 foot of earth for long. Look out the window, Lil. It's got dark already.
Winter, Joe.
I know the grave, Lil. I'm going back.
Joe.
You're not going to stop me, Lil. I'm going back and I'm going to get him out of that grave. Please, Lil, I've got to.
I'll come with you.
Oh, no, I couldn't bear that. I've got to do this on my own.
Suppose he's too heavy for you. You're not strong, Joe.
It's a pauper's grave, Lil. They didn't take much trouble with him.
Why a pauper? There's all that money in his wallet.
That makes it worse, doesn't it? Maybe they couldn't raise his relatives. What with his doctor gone away and everything. Here, Lil, get me that hammer out of the drawer. It's got that thing at the end for taking nails out, and that piece of mirror.
All right. Here you are. I hope you're right. But you know what you're doing.
It's the only way, Lil. The only way. So here I am, and it's too late. He's dead, all right.
Blow me, young man, I wouldn't be in your shoes, not for nothing. Just a minute. What did you say this bloke's name is?
Maxted. Harold Maxted.
Oh, no, it's not. What? This bloke's name is Sidney Fraser. Are you sure it's the same bloke?
Positive. No, it's the same bloke. His accusing face follows me around, sleeping and waking.
Oh, you young man, come and have a look with me. We don't give them much of a tombstone, these paupers. There you are. Sidney Fraser. Born February the 6th, 1920. Died December 4th, 1967.
Well, I've told you everything. They've given him the wrong name.
You better tell that to the police constable. Oh, I'm sorry about this, young man. I warned you. I thought I was too old to tackle you on my own. When you started opening that grave, I ran to the cemetery office and phoned the police.
Oh, well, it's almost a relief in a way.
Oh, hello. What's going on here? Oh, it's you again. Your missus was in the police station this morning with some nonsense about... Huh? Digging up a grave, are you? Oh, there's something fishy going on. When I told my sergeant that your wife came in and said we were burying someone who's a cataleptic and not dead, he nearly strangled me. So I should have taken full particulars. So I ought to charge you both with causing a public nuisance. This fella, Sidney Fraser, has had heart trouble for years. Huh? Sometimes an ordinary hospital had the pleasure of his company. More often than not, it was a prison hospital. Our police sergeant warned him that he hadn't got long to live. And your wife comes in with a cock-and-bull story about burying him alive. As if we didn't know him. Sidney Fraser. In his day, he was the finest pickpocket in Hornsey.
Pickpocket?
Why, only the other day we had a complaint from Mr. Maxted that someone had stolen his wallet. Bloke jostled him at a bus stop and then started running. From his description, we knew it was Sid.
He picked Max's pocket. He wasn't a cataleptic. He was a pickpocket.
Yeah. You better pull yourself together. What are you doing here, and why is this grave open?
Oh, Constable, our young friend here got a bit mixed up. I opened the grave to show him he was mistaken.
Then why did you ring the police saying there was a suspicious character lurking in the cemetery?
Well, seems I was mistaken, that's all, Constable. In fact, we were both mistaken. Weren't we, young man? Hey. Pickpocket. Cataleptic.
Somebody should have told Joe Harris that lifting wallets from cataleptic gentlemen is a most grave offense. In fact, it is likely to incur the most stiff penalty. This is your host back again. Just a reminder of our rendezvous next week. Where are we going? Through the creaking door, of course.
The manufacturers of State Express 3-5 Filter King cigarettes invite you to listen next Saturday at 9 o'clock when they will again present The Creaking Door.
The Mummers in the Little Theater of the Air.
torchlights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story? The blackness of terror? Then listen while the hermit tells you the story.
It was 1 week ago today that Paul and I received a telegram about Papa. And since that hour, my life, my thoughts, my feelings have been deeply altered. I have learned the results of the blackness of terror, the hideousness of sin, and the horror of madness. On Wednesday last, about 10 p.m., a telegram was delivered to me. Who on earth can be sending me a wire?
Who else but your father?
But Papa always calls.
Well, before you open it, we're not going to Blue Acres this weekend. We haven't had one weekend to ourselves since we were married.
Oh, Paul, it is Papa.
I knew it.
No, you don't understand. Here.
Your father's seriously ill. Suggest you come at once. Dr. Lorry.
Papa.
Oh, now take it easy, Marlene.
He's never been ill a day in his life.
Your father's getting along in years, darling. You can't expect him not to have some bad days.
But Dr. Lorry says seriously ill, and he's usually terribly conservative. We must start at once. Oh, please understand me. I love my husband, Paul, very much. But up until the time I married, I had never left my father's side. We'd been inseparable. Ever since that dreadful morning when, as a little girl of 8 years, my papa had taken me on his lap, and after kissing me tenderly and brushing the curls back from my forehead, he had said,
"Little doll, your papa has something very sad to tell you. But you must be very brave, my darling. Your mother has left us. She has written this note to inform us."
To Terence and Marlene, life here at Blue Acres has grown intolerable for me. You're a little child, Marlene, and therefore I cannot explain some things to you. But Terence will know why I'm leaving. My little girl, try to think kindly of your mother. I would take you with me if I could, but that is impossible just now. Your father is a wealthy man, and he can give you fine things. I know at Blue Acres you will grow up to be a lady of whom I shall always be proud, and a daughter whom I will love forever.
Do not cry, my little doll. Had your mother loved you, she would never have left you. From this day forward, there'll be no mention of her name in this house. To us, she is dead.
It was some years later that I learned that my beautiful mother had left Papa and me and had run away with Philip Court, a chap the townspeople said was a worthless dauber in paint. Nothing was ever heard of my mother or him after they left Blue Acres. Nor did my father, Terence Lane, ever mention her name. He devoted his life to me. I had private tutors that came to Blue Acres to instruct me, the very best. Papa imported a master of the piano to teach me. We remained aloof from the world. The only woman in the household beside myself was Mrs. East. Father always did the cleaning of the house, for Blue Acres is filled with priceless treasures. And when I would laugh at him dusting, he would always remark,
Can't let her clumsy fingers touch this vase. It's worth $1,000 if it's worth a penny.
The years moved on, and I lived in a world of my father's creating, until this last summer when I was 21 years old. One glorious summer night when the moon made golden patterns on the terraced lawns of Blue Acres, and the waters of the colored fountains planted in the ground shot a million rainbow lights into the night, when the French doors of the music room were opened wide to let the cool night air enter in. I sat at the piano, playing the works of one of my favorite composers, Debussy. Papa was not fond of Debussy, and as soon as I began playing, he got up from his chair and went to his study. But the haunting melancholy of Debussy suited me. It was a background to my dreaming, and the somehow lonely feeling of my heart that was growing stronger as the years wore on, with only Papa for my companion. I went on playing. And then suddenly I was aware of the presence of another in the room. I felt it strongly even before I turned around.
Oh, please go on. It's beautiful. Suited to a night like this. Please.
I'm sorry, but I
Don't
believe...
be sorry. I'm the one who owes you an apology for my intrusion. I'm Paul Wilde. I'm spending my vacation at the Truesdales who live down the road a ways.
Oh, yes.
They told me there was a princess living at Blue Acres. But they didn't do you justice, young lady. No princess was ever quite so fair or lovely as you.
Please, Mr. Wilde.
The Truesdales also added that a dragon named Terence Lane guards the Princess Marlene with his life.
That was very unjust.
Really? Well, then, if you're not zealously guarded, how about taking a stroll with me? The night is wonderful. And if you're good, I'll reach up and pick you a necklace of stars to wear.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilde.
You won't go?
It's late.
And Papa would object?
No.
Well, then, with your kind permission, I'll call tomorrow afternoon to gain his consent for a date tomorrow night. Do I have your permission?
Well, yes.
Fine. Then do something for me now, will you?
If I can.
Play something for me as I walk away. Shall we have something light and joyous this time? Something more in tune with the happiness in store for you and me. I'll be listening for our theme song.
Paul Wilde. Only those deeply in love can understand what I mean when I say it was adoration on sight. I knew that from that second until eternity, there would be none other for me than Paul. And true to his word, he was at Blue Acres the next afternoon, asking Father's consent for an evening with me. I didn't hear their conversation, but I did hear from Papa later.
My dear, I'm an old man, wise in the ways of the world. I've spent my entire life protecting you from the vulgar of this world, the worthless. Had I protected your mother more carefully, there never would have been the scandal in this house caused by her treacherous act.
But Papa...
I have already called into the city. This Paul Wilde is nothing but a simple clerk with poor wages.
Is there never to be anyone for me?
Of course, when the time comes. But this is not the time.
I had never disobeyed my father, but I did so that night. I sent Paul a note, and we met at midnight in the gardens of Blue Acres.
My Marlene.
Say it again, Paul. It sounds so wonderful. I've never had anyone but Papa speak my name with love.
My Marlene. I have a lifetime of love to give you. A heart bursting with love for you. Do you love me, my darling?
Oh, yes, Paul.
Say it.
I love you. Oh, I love you.
And now say this. I love you enough to leave Blue Acres and marry you, Paul.
I love you enough to leave. Oh, Paul, I can't. I can't do that to Papa.
Must you give up your life to him?
No, but to leave him as Mother did.
Then will you let me go out of your life?
No. No. There were other surreptitious meetings. There were arguments, persuasions, protestations. But in the end, love won out. Paul and I ran away and were married. I will never forget the following day when Paul and I returned to face Father.
What is done cannot be undone.
Papa, you forgive me.
Yes, I forgive you.
Oh, Papa. Paul, isn't he wonderful?
You are the love of my life. And if Paul realizes this, he will not keep you absent from me for any long periods of time.
Of course not, Papa. Blue Acres will continue to be our home. But I hadn't reckoned with Paul when I made the statement. He would not quit work and live at Blue Acres off Papa's bounty, as he called it. So for the time being, we'd been spending weekends at Blue Acres. At this moment, I felt a little resentful as Paul had taken me away from Papa. We arrived at Blue Acres, and Mrs. Eaton opened the door to us, just as dawn was breaking over Blue Acres.
Oh, at last you've arrived. Come in.
Papa?
Your father's a very sick man.
What is it, Mrs. Eaton?
I think, Miss Marlene, you should let Dr. Laurie explain.
Oh, here. I'll take the luggage upstairs.
I'll go to Father.
You'll find him in his study. Doctor had a bed set up in there where it's easier for me to care for him. Besides, he seems more content there.
Hasn't Dr. Laurie gotten a nurse for Papa?
We tried it, but he wouldn't have one. We'd better knock on the door. Doctor's in there with him now.
Come in.
Papa. I ran across the room to my father's bed. I looked down at him, and then in dismay at Dr. Laurie. For my father's face was a horrible sight, twisted and pulled out of shape. And his eyes, his burning eyes, they were staring at me wildly. I reached out for his hand, cried out to him, Papa! What is it, Dr. Laurie?
Stroke.
Oh, Papa, don't worry. Dr. Laurie will get you well again. Can you hear my voice?
I'm not quite sure this morning, but I think so. He does know who you are. Come outside with me, Marlene. I want to talk to you.
I'm going in the drawing room, Papa, to talk to Dr. Laurie. I'll be right back, and then I won't leave. I won't leave until you're well again. Come in the drawing room, Doctor. I should never have left him.
Fiddlesticks. You did the right thing.
But my marriage has brought this on. He loved me so, and I love him. He's been lost with me gone.
Marlene,
Dr. Laurie, his eyes.
Yes, my dear. I was just about to talk to you of this.
What is it?
I wish I knew. Your father is suffering from some terrible fear that I'm inclined to think is nothing to do with his fear of dying.
Has he said anything about it?
He can't speak. Only the guttural sound you heard. He can't write. He can't lift his hands.
Oh, how dreadful.
What that fear is, I don't know. I've watched with him nights, and it appears that whatever causes his wild fear is worse then.
Poor Papa.
As soon as office hours are over this evening, I'll drive out here to Blue Acres. Perhaps between the two of us, we'll be able to discover what causes his distress and be able to help him.
It filled my heart with sorrow to see my father suffering such pain and discomfort. And the look in his eyes, the mad, wild look, was almost more than I could bear. At last night came. I rejoiced when I heard Mrs. Eaton usher Dr. Laurie in. He and I sat by Father's bed while the heavy minutes ticked past. There seemed to be no change in his condition. But as night wore on and it was fast reaching midnight, there was a change in his eyes. The fear in them was so marked that I trembled from it. Dr. Laurie said...
Do you see? His eyes.
Yes.
It's as if he sees something we don't see.
Yes. It was so. His eyes seemed to be riveted on the door to his study. And it was then that I thought I heard a low moan. What was that?
I don't know.
It didn't come from Father.
No. But look at him now.
Now Father's eyes were trained in closer to his bed. He was struggling, attempting to lift his hand. It was very plain to me, and I cried out, Doctor, there's some unseen thing standing over Papa's bed.
That is the way I diagnose it.
There is.
Something unseen to us, but clearly seen by your father.
And look, the bedclothes are moving. But he's not touching them. What is it? Dr. Lorry, what is it?
An unseen spirit, eh? Witnessed only by the dying. What does Lawrence Terrence Lane see, eh? What causes him to fear so mightily? The hermit will tell you before the night is done.
And now the hermit will continue.
Only a few minutes have passed. But Marlene, in her anxiety to aid her father in his terrible fear, only makes matters more difficult. Now it appears that the dying man wishes his beloved daughter out of the room, too. And so Paul, the husband of Marlene, with his arms about her, leads her from the room, guides her into the music room, where she sinks into a chair, sobbing softly. Listen.
Darling, if you get overwrought, ill, you won't be able to help your father.
Oh, Paul, it's so dreadful. I tell you, Papa sees things there in his room. Some vision that frightened him. I saw the bedclothes move, and Papa wasn't touching them.
Please, dear, try to control your nerves. Shall I have Mrs. Eaton make you some tea? It'll help soothe you. I'll be right back, darling. Only take a second.
Paul went into the kitchen. I sat trying to get a hold of myself. It was only a few minutes after he'd left the room. Once again, I was aware of the same sound I had heard in Father's room. The sound that had made his eyes turn mad with the terror of it. Was I, too, losing my mind? What was the answer to this strange phenomenon? A sound that to my ears was exactly like that of a woman moaning. At first it was close to me in the music room. And then it grew fainter, but still distinct. And though it's difficult to believe, there was a second when I felt as if something had brushed past my chair, had touched my shoulder. I cried out for Paul. Paul! Paul!
What is it? I'm right here.
Paul, listen. Do you hear a strange sound?
What sort of a sound?
A sound like a woman moaning.
No.
I heard it distinctly. You listen.
Hey, you drink this tea and forget about such things.
Please, Paul, quiet. Now, do you hear?
By George.
You do hear it?
Some unusual sound.
Where is it coming from?
I don't know.
There it is again.
Yeah. Sort of seems to be coming from these walls of the music room.
That's it.
Or from out on the terrace.
Oh, it's nearer than that.
Here, in this wall behind the piano.
Yes. Why are you feeling the walls?
This panel here. Look.
Why, it's a panel that opens. I've lived here all my life, and I never knew of it before.
And in a room in here.
And you can hear the moaning from here much closer.
Marlene, get the candle from the piano. I'm going to look around in here.
Yes. Here, Paul.
Yeah, this passage in here must lead to another room in the house.
I'm coming with you.
And the moaning we heard was from someone in the adjoining room from here.
Paul, wait. Here, look.
What is it?
This enormous chest. Listen. Quick, there's someone inside this chest.
I believe you're right.
Hurry, they'll smother to death.
Yeah, it's locked.
Locked? Someone's been pushed into this chest, and it's been locked against them. Hurry, can't you break it open?
I'm going to try. That'll lock is giving now.
Not one skeleton, Paul. Two.
Two?
I'm going to take this chest into Terence Lane's room. When I question him and show him what we've found in his secret hiding place, no doubt we'll have the answer to our tragedy and our riddle.
When confronted with the chest and the skeletons of human beings found in it, when asked questions by Dr. Lloyd that Papa could answer by a nod of his head, we found the solution to the mystery of Blue Acre. Yes, the skeletons were those of Philip Court and my mother. My father had killed them before they ever got away from the house, the night Mother intended to leave him. Dr. Lorry filled in many blank spaces in the life of my mother and father.
Your father was an insanely jealous man, Marlene. He would allow her no friends. He even went to the city alone and bought her gowns for her. He would allow no one to look upon her. He hated me because I attended her at your birth.
Oh.
I was surprised when he allowed you to get away from him and marry Paul. But I've figured that out now.
What do you mean, Doctor?
I found a large quantity of arsenic in his desk.
Great heaven.
I'm sure it was his intention to do away with you, Paul. Then, once again, he could have Marlene to himself.
Take me away, Paul. Paul and I left Blue Acres next morning. Terence Lane, my father, is still living. Mrs. Eaton cares for him. I haven't been out since that horrible night when the moaning of my mother's spirit led me to her grave. But we will go out this weekend if he's still living. Paul says I can never be happy unless I forgive him. Besides, the eyes of my father show madness in the evening after darkness gathers. And so we know he is tortured enough. Each night he must see the spirit of my mother standing over his bed, accusing him of his crime of double murder.
Unable to speak to those who stand beside him. And in the night time, a vision of a woman appears before him. The vision of one whom he murdered because of his insane jealousy. Yes. Terence Lane has learned during these last hours the blackness, the awful blackness of terror. Turn on your lights. Turn them on. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in The Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
The Strange Dr. Weird.
Good evening. Come in, won't you? Why, what's the matter? Your hand is shaking. Surely you're not afraid of me. Perhaps it would steady you to hear a little story that was just told to me. The story of a strange ship that sails the seven seas with no crew save death, and no passengers except the dead. I call the story The Ghost Ship. My story, The Ghost Ship, begins in a badly battered lifeboat, pitching and tossing on the surface of the South Atlantic. 3 men wearily bail out the water which the breaking waves constantly pour into the boat. A 4th man
burly and broad-shouldered, is at the tiller.
All right, bailer, men, bailer. The water's gaining on us.
What's the use of bailing? We'll never make land. Why don't we admit we're done for and get it over with?
Stow that, bosun. We may sight a ship any minute.
You've been saying that every day for a week now.
Captain! Yeah, what is it, cook?
Hey, think it's a ship. You know it's here. They're to port.
All right, look sharp, men.
I don't see anything. Just another false alarm.
No, it's not. Captain, I see her. It's a small steamer heading this way. Yeah, I can make her out now. She's heading straight for us.
It's a ship, all right. But she looks mighty funny. Look how low she is in the water. See the way she steers?
She does kind of stagger back and forth.
Maybe her steering gear broke. And there's no smoke from her funnels either. If you ask me, she's a derelict.
Well, maybe she is. Even a derelict is better than this lifeboat. The wind's carrying her across our cords. And we're going to board her.
Half an hour later, the lifeboat rubbed against the side of the strange ship. The 4 hungry, weary men clambered aboard her and found themselves greeted only by the uncanny silence of a deserted ship.
See? What'd I tell you? This here's a derelict, a bloomin' derelict.
Yeah, she's a derelict, all right. Look at her ironwork covered with rust. I'd say she's been drifting about for a good many months.
Suppose there be no grub or water aboard her, that's what worries me.
Now, that's what we're going to find out right now. Cook and I'll search the starboard side of the ship. You other two search the port side. Look lively now. We'll meet in the chart room in 30 minutes. All right, bosun, what did you find?
We didn't find nothing. Not a single solitary thing.
That's all right, Captain. Of course, we're so low in the water that all the holes in the cabins below deck are half flooded. But we searched everything else, and we didn't find a thing. Well, Cook and I had better luck. We found the galley dry and plenty of canned grub in it. I left Cook rustling up some chow. He'll be bringing us a hot meal any minute now. Hot food? Doggone, that's what I was wanting to hear.
What I want to know is why was this freighter abandoned? That's it. What? This is the mermaid girl.
What?
Yes. There's her name on the logbook. She's a ghost ship. Do you hear me? We come aboard a ghost ship. We got to get off her or we'll die.
Bosun, get hold of yourself, will you?
It's true. This is the mermaid girl, and every seaman in the world knows about her.
Well, sir, I don't. Captain, what is this here mermaid girl business? Well, the story of the mermaid girl is a curious one. 2 years ago, she had her hull stove in a hurricane, but she's loaded with lumber and cork, which is why she never sunk. Well, the first night out after the storm, one of the crew disappeared.
The next night, 2 more men went, and 2 more the night after.
I'm telling this, bosun.
It's true, every word of it.
It's true, the men disappeared. Rest of the crew mutinied and abandoned ship. Only one lifeboat with 5 men in it ever made port. They're the ones who spread the story.
And ever since then, the mermaid girl's been drifting. A ghost ship with death at the helm. I tell you, we've got to get off her, or we'll die too. Captain!
That's a cook. Quick, outside. Something's happened to him.
Captain, look. There on the deck, a tray. Dishes and food. Cook was bringing us grub. And now he's vanished.
Say, Doctor, do you know you've been on the air for 25 weeks now? Evidently, people like your radio show.
That makes me very happy. And I thank them from the bottom of my cold-blooded heart.
Coming from you, Doctor, that's really warm sentiment. And while we're about it, the makers of Atom hats would like to thank the many men who have recognized the superiority of Atom hats this season. Gentlemen, you've been keeping our thousands of stores and authorized dealers mighty busy. And no wonder. Wide varieties in 100% correct styles, combined with finest quality materials and craftsmanship, make Atom hats America's outstanding hat value. The well-dressed man particularly appreciates the wide choice of shapes and shades available at their Atom Hat store. Tomorrow, step into the Atom Hat store nearest you and ask to see the new line of Atom hats, priced sensibly from $3.45 to $10. Now, Dr. Weird, on with the show.
And now to continue my story, The Ghost Ship. It is night, and in the inky darkness, half submerged, The derelict steamship Mermaid Girl drifts onward across the wave-tossed surface of the South Atlantic. Huddled in the chart room with 2 flickering lanterns for light, the 3 shipwreck survivors discuss the strange disappearance of the cook, the 4th member of their group.
I tell you, the spook got him. Or the devil, or whatever it is that's put a curse on this ship.
It takes more than a spook to make a grown man vanish without a trace, bosun.
The sea's different from the land. There's devils that haunt the ocean no landlubber can know about. You've heard of the Flying Dutchman, haven't you, Tex?
I reckon I have. What about it?
For 100 years or more, manned by phantoms, she's been sailing the 7 seas, full rigged and always running with the storm dead astern. The devils of the sea put a curse on her, and so the Flying Dutchman will sail on forever.
The Flying Dutchman is just a sailor's superstition, bosun. You know it.
And I suppose this ship we're on now is just a superstition, too. And the fact that she's been drifting for 2 years with no end at her helm, I tell you, we got to get off her, or else we'll die.
We can't get off her. Our lifeboat shrunk when we came aboard. So stow that kind of talk, bosun.
That's what I say, too. I don't believe in spooks or devils. Fact is, I got me a notion to go down to the galley right now and rustle up some grub.
You want the same thing that happened to the cook to happen to you?
Oh, nothing happened to me. Captain, you got an extra revolver in your pocket?
Yeah.
Well, now, just you let me take it and I'll face anything to get me some grub. Well, it's 3 days since we had food, and I'm too hungry to wait for morning.
All right, here's the extra gun. It has 3 shells in it. And take this lantern, but look sharp.
I'll do that, Captain, and I'll bring back whatever I can carry.
Good.
And if I meet any spooks, I'll bring them back, too.
You shouldn't have let him go, Captain.
He'll be all right with a light and a gun. We don't need food.
You'll see, Captain, this ship's a ghost ship, and... Listen.
Come on, we gotta go to his rescue.
No, Captain, it's too late. It's got him, whatever it is that's haunting this ship. And if we got out there now, it'll get us, too.
All night, the 2 men huddled in the chart room, the doors bolted, the memory of Tex's screams ringing in their ears. In the morning, with a fog covering the sea, they cautiously emerged and searched the ship, the captain keeping his revolver always ready. And they found...
Nothing. That's what we found, Captain. Nothing but a smashed lantern and the empty gun line on the deck where Tex has dropped them.
Well, frankly, I think Tex and the cook went out of their heads and jumped overboard. There's absolutely nothing on this ship that could have harmed them.
But there is. Only it's something you can't see unless it wants you to see it.
Ah, that's ridiculous. Bosun, listen to me. I tell you...
Wait.
What is it? Listen. What is it, Job? It's a foghorn. There's a steamship someplace in the fog, off the starboard of us.
Head in this way. But you'll never see us. Look how fast the fog's thickening.
Yeah, we gotta work fast. There's a hand-operated foghorn up in the bow of this vessel. Get up forward and start sounding it. I'll hunt for distress rockets. We've got to attract attention before that ship gets too far away.
Aye, sir. I'll signal an SOS with the oars.
Good man. Oh, she's passing astern of us. Blast this fog. If it hadn't thickened up so fast, we'd have been sighted.
Captain!
Yeah, what is it, Bosun?
Captain, he's got me! He's dragging me toward the oars! Captain, help!
I'm coming, Bosun! Bosun, where are you?
Captain! Down here, in the hole! Help me!
In the hole? Bosun, what's happened?
Captain, it's an octopus!
What?
A giant octopus! It's got me down here in the hole! A tentacle caught me! You almost pulled me in!
An octopus, so that's it! That's the devil that's been haunting this ship! I can see it, Bosun! Just under the water! I'm going to try and shoot it! All right, devil, take that! And that! And that!
It's pulling me under! It's
Ah, my gun's empty! I've got a tentacle! A giant tentacles around my legs! I can't get loose! It's pulling me down into the hole, too! If I can only... I can't! Help! Help!
wonder the shipwrecked sailors who boarded the mermaid girl could find nothing. The devil who haunted her was an underwater devil whose presence they couldn't guess. And so the mermaid girl still drifts on across the 7 seas, with death in the shape of a giant octopus, her captain, and dead men, her only crew. Perhaps someday... Oh, you have to go now. I do hope you'll drop in again soon. Just look for the house on the other side of the cemetery. The house of Dr. Weir.